I am dead. This is a ghost. What up, Kite Blazer? What up, the book? Yeah, Chad the Third is dead. All hail Chad the Fourth. Finish my big ass test, advancing diploma shit. Oh shit. Making progress, like to hear. Good work. Good work. See, good things happen when you start playing Tekken. Good things happen. Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening. Alright. I'm trying to call Finn. Trying to call Finn T. But I can't hear him. I don't think he's on the call. Are you on the call? Let me try calling him. What up, bro? I do enjoy taking thanks into my issues, the community. Be stuck in this whole army. I ain't gonna lie, community is a large part of it. I've not been playing Tekken, but I've been watching and listening to Tekken conversations, and it's crazy. Who am I calling? Oh, you can hear the call? Good. I'm calling Finn. I'm trying to call Finn. But he might not be free, because he said his cousin's coming. No big deal. I'm gonna have to go without it. I pitched to him yesterday I was gonna do a Tekken talk, and I'd like to have him on the call, but if he's not free, he's not free. It's not the end of the world. Anyway, how you losers doing? That's the real question. How you losers doing? Oh wait, let me check my... Okay, bot tricks. I finally got YouTube chat as well. If anyone's been on YouTube. I'm alright. Cool, bro. Started college again. I was college training. Man, Tekken, eh? Tekken, eh? Fucking Tekken. I've been so good. Stop playing Tekken. I've been having a good one. And I've been trying to get back into Tekken though. I keep going back. I keep booting it up and being like, I ain't got time for this. I ain't got time for this, bro. I ain't got time for this. I have not got time for this. But I've been thinking a lot about Tekken. I've been playing a lot of other video games and being like, damn, I forgot what fun was like. I forgot. Oh, he's alright. He's alright. Also, did you say again? Because my first year. Also, did you say again? Because if so, this is my first year. Oh, sorry. For me, school and college are the same thing. Lol. Everything before uni becomes school. Well, I see what you mean. Good shit. I've been playing Silk Song, having fun. What the fuck is Silk Song? The fuck is Silk Song? I have to start Silk Song, but RCM won't let me. Damn, still on the RCM? Yeah. I still need to get back into fucking, what was it we said we would play? We said we'd play, Montana. I actually do want to play. Wow. The thing is, I'll be honest with you, I've just not had time for video games. I'm gonna keep it a buck. I've been like trying to be productive and shit, and it's going well. And every time I'm like, if I do play a video game, it's usually like a single player game, just playing an RPG, burn a few hours. But that being said though, Playing RPGs has got me thinking a lot about Tekken, ironically, and like what makes a game fun. And thinking about the old days. Finally had Tekken King. Damn, good shit, P. Good shit. People are in love with it. Silk Song, some shitty ass game. People in love with it. Yeah, I keep hearing good things. I might check it out. I've been doing reading though. That's. I've been doing a lot of reading on my story shit. I like stories. I forgot how much I like stories. I'm watching shit on YouTube. On Netflix. Oh man. But yeah, it's been a bit tricky, especially this past month, because obviously I'm a freelancer and I was out of it. I was out of work, so I had to find new work. I was stressing out about it, and I got a new job lined up, so I'm a little bit less stressed. But we'll see how long this one lasts. No, good job on the Kazuya technically. Nothing. What up, player? How you doing, Holmes? Yeah, no Kazuya's in the chat. Kazuya's are not allowed. Get out of here. Filthy Kazuya. We joking. Good shit, Peter. Good shit. Good. J-Slur. Yeah, jobs. I don't like him any more than you do, bro, but gotta pay the bills, homie. Gotta pay the bills. And build. Gotta bleep out mission. Damn. Oh man, oh man, oh man. Alright, I'm gonna give Finn one more call. If he ain't answer, we're gonna go without him. You can join us later. I'm doing good. I'm stuck on my promo. Promo between where to where. Promo's always stressful. I was gonna say try not to think about it, but easier than done, you know what I mean? Not my fault they turned Devil Gen some evil chicken ass. Bro. Devil Gen is so fucked up. Yeah, it's not your fault. Nah, Brit, bro, he hasn't always been. Nah, trust me. He better Tekken 7. He was annoying, but not like this. Not like this. That's true for all the missions. All the missions have been like, not like this. Not like this. If, does you know your camera's off, so you can goon, I just can't prove it? Alright, cool. I just don't want y'all gooning over me. I don't want y'all gooning over me. I don't trust you, niggas. I don't trust you, niggas. Alright, we're gonna start. Alright. Music off. Alright, so basically, I'm gonna be honest with you. It's gonna be a short stream. You know, ni hao, my niggas, ni hao. It's gonna be a short stream. I got some shit to say. I wanna get it off my chest. So let's go. What we're gonna do, ladies and gents, is we're gonna talk about mix-ups. Now, I know you motherfuckers have been watching a bunch of YouTube videos, right? Everyone out here, since season 2 started, motherfuckers have been complaining about Tekken. They've been bitching. Everyone, oh, mix-ups are too strong, mix-ups are too weak, this character's trash, dances are crash, and I have done my fair share of it. And part of the reason I've not been making YouTube videos is because I don't want to just keep saying the same shit I've been saying since season 1, right? But that being said, I always did say that I will only make a video when I think I have something important to say, or at least something that the majority of people aren't saying that might be useful to the conversation. And I do think I have something here, right? So we're going to talk about the essence of mix-ups, not just in Tekken, but in fighting games in general. Right? Some of you might be wondering where I've been. I'll tell you where I've been. I've been playing other games, nigga. I've been playing other games. Been playing D&D. Been playing Mage the Ascension. I've been playing some Baldur's Gate. Went back to play some Baldur's Gate. Been playing some Pathfinder, Wrath of the Righteous. Been playing some RPGs. I love my story type games. So, you know, if you got recommendations for your boy, send them my way. But yeah, I've been playing a lot of other games. But even though I've not been playing Tekken, I have been watching a lot of Tekken conversations. And I ain't gonna lie, every time I watch Tekken stream and people talking about Tekken, it makes me glad I stepped the fuck away from Tekken. Cause like I said, Tekken conversations have become increasingly circular and increasingly unhinged. And it's not necessarily the fault of like Tekken content creators. Like, what is there to say about this game? How many ways can you say this game sucks? You know what I mean? How many ways can you say this game is bad? It's not their fault, right? And what's happening is like Tekken content creators are now attacking other content creators. Like it's getting kind of like a bunch of piranhas in here. It's kind of wild. And yeah, it's getting harder and harder to sell people on Tekken. Because it's like normally you'd be like, well, the game kind of sucks, but the community is awesome. But like, let's be real, hand on heart. How many of you truly feel that the Tekken community is awesome? How many? Oh shit. Well. If it isn't Phineas T. How you doing?
Hello. Unfortunately, I'm on my iPad. I don't know how dog shit that sounds.
Sounds fine. I like bad audio is part of the gimmick. Anyone in chat, can you hear Finn T? Yes or no? Give me a yes in the chat. Give me a yes if you can.
Hello.
Can you hear him? Can you hear him? He actually came at the perfect time because I was talking shit about Tekken community. I was talking shit. Plus, y'all can hear? All right, good. All right, so basically, I was basically talking about how, I was basically telling people where I've been and the fact that Tekken conversation has become increasingly circular. As someone who is still part of the Tekken community, like actively, you're still making a lot of Tekken content, still talking to people. How do you feel about the current state of Tekken community? How are you feeling, Finn?
Me?
Yeah, you. As someone who I consider to be like the police force of the Judge Dredd of the Tekken community, how are you feeling?
I mean, it's a bit of a weird question depending on what you're like, kind of like how deep you are into it.
Sure.
Because the deeper you get into it, I had this already in season 1 where I asked a shit ton of people on Twitch, like pros, literally pros, high level player, and casuals, like actual casuals, what they think about the game in season 1.
Sure.
And what is obvious, but I confirmed it actually through at least a little bit of peer research, I guess, is that the higher level the players are, the more negative and uniform the opinion becomes about the game.
That makes sense.
And in season 2, that is worse now.
Yeah.
Still, and the game is not meaningfully changing.
Yeah.
So, even though they did shit, right? They fucking wall crush. A lot of the plus frames, a lot of the most egregious plus frames were toned down, like last +7, blah blah blah, all that stuff. But it's
not there. It's still not there.
Yeah, it's not there, not at all. And you're like standing still, and they already announced for the people who have the attention in the update we had where Anna got a slap on the wrist. In that update, they announced that they will not meaningfully patch this game for this season anymore.
It's funny that you mentioned that because I was avoiding the mechanical talk, but like I'm with you, and I've had thoughts about that because essentially, to spoil the rest of this presentation, my thoughts were, I was thinking about season 3, and I keep going back and forth and being like, is season 3 going to save the game? Right? And I know when you're in a negative state, it's easy to just be like, no. Or if you're being a bit of a show, to say yes. But I was thinking, like, realistically, let's say the game was going to be saved, Let's say the game was going to be saved. What would it take, right? And I was thinking a lot about that. And I'm like, I don't really want to have that conversation until I really get in-depth conversation about what's wrong with season 2. And what was interesting is that actually part of what motivated me to make this is like listening to your conversation when you had Mike ETL and you had like that large chat, because it was really, I actually found that to be one of the few really interesting conversations that have happened about the game in a long time, because it was a situation where people disagree with each other, but all sides of the conversation did kind of know what they were talking about. Like, you know what you're talking about. Mike ADL isn't some scrub. He knows what he's talking about. And I felt like we were able to finally get into the nuance of it. And I was able to see a perspective that wasn't my own. And I am thinking real deeply, I was thinking real deeply about, okay, can I really get my hands deep into the mechanics of this game, why this game feels bad? And one of the things that really came up is a lot of us are constantly talking about numbers, frame data. And I think the real issue is kind of more ephemeral. It's about game feel, right? At the end of the day, does the game feel fun? And that's always going to be hard to, you can't just say like, yes, game feels fun. No, the game feels bad, because that's subjective, right? If you're enjoying it, then you're enjoying it. If you're not, you're not. But trying to quantify the elements that make it feel like Tekken. What did Tekken 7 feel like and why did it feel that way? What did Tekken 8 feel like and why does it feel this way? What's different? That's basically what this is basically going to try and be. And I think I have nailed down a key difference in the game feel. And in doing so, I think I've identified kind of the real decision that the decision the makers have to make when it comes to season 3. Because they have to make a decision of how they want it to go. So that's basically what we're going to get around to. It's a lot of rambling. So yeah, I've pretty much touched on that. Also, I've been thinking a lot about VF6, The reason I say that is because whenever I watch these videos, I keep seeing people in the comments being like, man, I can't wait for VF6, bro. VF6 gonna change everything. VF6 gonna change the world, bro. VF6 is it. And you've already heard my statement. VF6 is not gonna do a goddamn thing. Because 90% of the people out here talking about wanting to play VF6, they don't like VF. Like, they actually don't like VF.
It's a thing, right? They want to play, the people who say this, they want to play Tekken.
Yes.
And like, yeah.
Like they want, in their heads, VF6 is basically just Tekken, but good. Like they have this mental image. And when VF6 comes out and it's not that, they are going to be so disappointed. And it's so funny. And I keep hearing people like, man, VF6, I'm like, have you tried VF5 though? It's like, it's not really for me, but VF6 though, I'm like, okay, but like, for example, the beta just came out. There's a free beta that people have been playing this the whole weekend. Ain't no one playing that game. So I'm like,
you mean the Revo Champion Edition? Yeah,
basically the Revo Champion Edition. They basically had crossplay or whatever, so people could play for free. People could play fucking for free, and people staying doing it. All right. So it's and not only that, even as someone who really does like VF5, I'm a bit nervous, right? Because I'm like, VF6 is looking like it's going to be pretty fucking expensive. Like, I mean, they're going to put a lot of money behind it. So you got to appeal to casuals, right? You got to appeal to casuals. So it's entirely possible that the things I love about VF5, we're just going to get fucking, the dumbing down of fighting games. There's no reason to believe that VF6 won't also do that. Like, it probably won't be anime, to be fair. It probably won't be sword and shit. But, it probably won't be as complicated as VF5 is, right? We don't know. But point is, we don't know. The game doesn't exist. That game is a PDF right now, okay? It's 2 video files in a PDF. And people being like, yo, I can't wait for VF6, son. VF6 is going to save the world. It's going to cure cancer. And I'm like, the more hype people get about VF6, the more nervous I get. You know what I mean? The more nervous I get.
Yeah. One thing, just one thing that you said that I just want to say this. I don't know why, but I just don't want to. I don't want to be seen as someone who is like under a form of delusion. Because when you said, like maybe season 3 is gonna like save the game, right? Yeah. You mean basically in terms of gameplay, right? Because numbers, like speaking numbers, game does fine. Like game does fine. So this is a problem, right? Because if the numbers are fine, like if the numbers are fine, do the developers think the gameplay needs saving? Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. Because I checked I checked from when season 2 dropped. We had like 5,000 something. We still have 5,000 something average daily. Yeah. And this is where it's like, you remember, right? We had all this. Do you remember this fun fact? Do you remember the Tekken 8 boycott website, right?
Yeah, I remember that.
Do you know to what that website now links to?
No.
This website now links to the Tekken World Tour.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. It's an inside job, bro. It's an inside job. It was around the whole time.
I'm not kidding. And the last time I had a number from like 2 months ago or something. It was down from. Do you remember the peak was like 7,000 or 8,000? It went down to 2,000.
Yeah. But this
because we are all addicted. What can you do? I tried, right? I tried going back Tekken 7, but the game is dead. Yep. I tried, but I played tournaments again and again and again. And sometimes I don't want to, like, I just want to sit there and play. I don't want to turn my stream on and shit. I just want to play, and I don't want the bad net code. I want Insta rematch. Yeah. And also, don't forget, the game is also a little bit fucked of season 4.
Yeah, right? Season 4 was a mess. Yeah, of course. No, I'm with you. And the thing is, it's not even. No, go. Continue. Finish your.
I don't want to sandbag your presentation.
No. That's why you're here to sandbag, bro. Step in. You're here for a reason. I'm not, and I didn't invite other motherfuckers to talk. I invited you to talk because I think your opinions are even-handed. Because I don't think you're like this. Like fucking Tekken 8 is the greatest thing in the world, but you're also not like Tekken is the worst thing ever, and it's like I feel like your opinion is you try to be fair. You super try to be fair, and you often invite and you often talk to people. So that's why you're here, because I'm going to make a lot of claims, and I think if I say something wrong, I want you to challenge me on it live, right? If for no other reason, then it will spark a conversation, right? And to defend your opinion, like I spent a lot of time playing Virtua Fighter for a few months, and I really loved it. But the thing is, I loved it more than I like Tekken 8. But if I'm being honest with you, I would still rather have a good Tekken game than Virtua Fighter. That's the thing. Like I'm still a Tekken player at heart. That's the thing, right? I think Tekken 8 is superior product to Virtua Fighter in terms of gameplay mechanics. But like, make no mistake, when I'm playing Virtua Fighter, I still miss Tekken, right? And again, that's part of the reason why we're here. So like, if I could have the ideal version of Virtua Fighter and the ideal version of Tekken, I'd pick Tekken, right? But the problem is I have to choose between like a really good version of Virtua Fighter, which is kind of dead, right? But it's a really good version of the game, or a very active version of Tekken, which is trash. And it's a horrible choice, which is why, frankly, these days I'm playing neither.
I go through the exact same thing. I have, I have almost 700 hours Street Fighter 6. I enjoyed that game, but at a certain point, I was like, I think this game is fundamentally way better designed than Tekken 8, but it also has the controversial stuff with throw loops, drive rush button. Or you know this as well because you played it as well. And I have played all 10 days of crack of 2xKO, meaning I have an account right now for the beta, but I'm a Tekken player.
It's not there. Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah. And we're going to get to that. It's part of that's another part of the reason why I hate it. It's precisely because you've played Street Fighter, and I'm going to talk a lot about Street Fighter. And why is that? Why is it that I can simultaneously recognize that Street Fighter is a superior game, and yet it's not satisfying my fighting game itch? And I'm going to get to that because again, it comes down to game feel. Trying to understand game feel. So before we continue, I'm going to talk about two key terms, and I know you'll understand why I'm using these terms, but people in the chat might not. So key term number one is going to be PDO, primary defensive option, right? The primary defensive option in Tekken is the stand block, correct? That is the stand blocking is what defends you against most options. And you only crouch when you have a read or you can visually see a low coming, right? So stand blocking is the primary option. But in Street Fighter, crouch blocking is the primary option, right? Because it'll protect most things. So I'm not just trying to be fancy by coming up with these terms. I'm using this term, the single term, because what that means in different fighting games is different, right? So PDO, primary defensive option. At the same time, you have PGB, right? Primary guard break. In Street Fighter, the primary guard break is the throw, right? It is the universal option every character has to beat the primary defensive option, right? And in Tekken, it's not the throw, it's lows, right? Lows are the option to beat the primary option, right? So again, I'm coming up with these words. I'm not trying to be like fucking pretentious. It's as this conversation goes on, you'll see why I'm coming up with these terms, because I don't want to have to constantly switch between saying stand blocking in Tekken versus crouch blocking in Street Fighter. But understand, primary defensive option is the thing that you do to block against most options, and the primary guard break in Tekken is lows, and the primary guard break in Street Fighter are throws, right? Here's why this matters.
It's mega important.
Super important. Game, yeah, exactly. Super important to understand, right? The primary mix-up. Here's why. Here's something that's really important. People fucking hate the PGB. No matter what game you're playing, people will hate the PGB. In Street Fighter, the most common complaint are throw loops, right? Having to constantly deal with throws. People fucking hate that, right? And people have always hated Zangief, right? People have always hated fucking throw characters, right? The characters who have access to the strong version.
Potemkin.
There is something about it that's very frustrating. People will always naturally hate and resent the PGB mechanic, whatever it is, right? And the same thing is true in Tekken, right? Lows are very frustrating. I fucking hate lows, right? I fucking hate eating hell sweeps, demo mans. You're gonna hate them, right? And so this is really important. Your game will have PGBs and people will hate them. At the same time though, you fucking need them, right? You need throws. Part of the reason why I'm making this video is because people will often throw out what I consider to be rather half-assed solution to the problem, right? So for example, people will be like, we need to get rid of throw loops, or throws are too strong in Street Fighter. But like, the reason why throws are strong in Street Fighter, I understand it from a design perspective. It's because you have a fucking parry button, right? Like, you can block and you have a parry button. So you need an option that can beat parry. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Because parries let you block overheads and lows. So the option that beats that needs to be strong. It needs to be strong. And the threat of it needs to be common, right? Otherwise, it'll just be a defensive game where we're just holding parry button all day, all right? So when people say, like, I'll just get rid of throw loops, getting rid of throw loops is actually like buffing. It's like would be a huge buff to parry and would make the game far more defensive. And maybe that's a good thing, right? I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but like, you have to understand the consequences of what we're asking for, right? And it's worth thinking about. And so the question is, at the heart of it, and this is, I think, the real, if you get nothing else from this video, I think this is probably the main thing, right? The question we're often asking is, how strong should the PGB be in your game, right? The stronger the PGB is, the weaker defense is, right? And the more offensive your game is going to be, and vice versa. And this is a subjective question. There is no correct answer. Some people might I want a game where the PGB is weak, therefore defense is strong. Or I want a game where actually blocking all day is going to get your ass beat, so I want to be offensive, or whatever, right? This is the subjective. This is like the I don't know what the word I'm looking for, but like the slider. You have to decide, right? Like, how strong do we want the PGB to be in our game, right? And this is where, as you can probably tell what I'm going for, is perhaps the biggest shift that has happened from 7 to 8, right? Tekken 7 to 8, right? So let's look at, through this lens, let's consider Tekken 7, okay? Tekken 7 had, I would say, really weak PGBs, right? Lows in Tekken weren't that powerful because they were either low damage and got you like basically small amount of frames, but at the same time you were risking your whole life because a single low parry could cost you everything, right? A single hop kick can cost you everything. So small lows were rather weak,
especially in Tekken 7 because the low parry had tailspin.
Exactly, yeah,
and
exactly.
no gray life.
Yeah, exactly. So full combo basically, right? With a slight reduction, but it's still pretty much a full combo.
I saw Horang do half-life. I saw Macroya do half-life for a low parry.
Right. So think about that. I'm going for this small low that even if it hits, I'm getting a small amount of damage. But every time I go for that small low, I'm risking my entire life bar. Right. So small lows were weak, and big lows would be circumvented by movement. And this is maybe the biggest difference, right? So I'm going to come up with 3 examples, right? Kazuya, Leo, and Paul, right? Kazuya, famously, he has the hell sweep, but it can be mitigated by a sidestep left. You didn't even have to walk in Tekken 7. A sidestep left would cover you, right? This is something that I think a lot of people misunderstand. Like, you didn't have to move that far deep to mitigate the hell sweep in T7, okay? Like, and you can get around it pretty easily. And Paul, you could just backdash, right? Because he had to get a clean hit, and which is still the case. He had to get a clean hit in order to hit you with Demo Man, right? And for Leo's hell sweep was pretty much tracking, but for most of Tekken 7's life until season 4, Leo's down forward 2 didn't launch crouchers, right? And so the way you would neutralize Leo is by every time you put you in a quote unquote guessing situation, you just sidestep right block or sidestep right duck, right? And like if you went for the hell sweep, he'd die. If you went for the down forward 2, he'd catch you because he had weird tracking, but it wouldn't launch you, right? And so the reason why you didn't see a character like Leo, despite having seemingly every move you could possibly imagine, was because sidestep right was just such a devastating way to neutralize the most threatening options. And of course, even if you backdashed against Leo, you could also get out the step away of the hell sweep, right? So the point is, every character in the game who was blessed with a strong low would also have that low. Their entire kit almost would be designed to make it so that you could move in such a way as to mitigate the big low. So the designers were very much intentionally making the PGB of Tekken, i.e. the low, weak. That wasn't an accident. That was a design choice. We want lows in this game to be weak.
I would agree.
Yeah. So this was a design choice. And so for those of us who play Tekken for, pretty much since launch, we got used to an environment. We got used to an environment where the PGB wasn't that powerful. So we could guard and we could hide behind our guard and we could spend time thinking about it. Like the amount of risk we were taking by doing nothing was very small. Which again, not a good thing or a bad thing. It's just a thing. And it meant, and I think this was the large part of the reason why you could play Tekken for like 8 hours and just not feel that stressed. Because it was as if like you were only really in danger when you put yourself out there. Really, if you have the knowledge. There was a large element of just being able to just sort of hide behind your backdash and think, right? And most people didn't do that, right? Because they were here to party, they were here to have fun. So the games didn't turn into that. But in theory, you could, right? And this was something that they really wanted to do away with. And this is something that we really have to come to terms with. The fact that the PGB, the primary guard break of Tekken, which is lows, were weak. Okay. Tekken 8 has unshackled the PGB. It has completely unshackled the PGB. Like, fuck it. We want the lows to be scary, and we want you to not be able to avoid them consequence-free, right? The PGBs in this game are terrifying. The lows are terrifying.
Even I don't know if you also wanted to go there, but also like in multiple ways. Like, for example, with Anna, they buffed her low utility that she has like low risk options like down back 4. Yeah. But also in neutral, you are dealing with stuff like forward 2, which she had in Tekken 7, and it was also +4, but it wasn't a weapon and it had less range.
Yes.
But not only that, now she has forward 3 too.
Yes.
So in neutral, you're also constantly at the risk of this. Like moving is now you eat the homing. Okay, I need to duck this. Like I can only beat this by ducking the forward 2. I can only it's a weapon, it's plus on block. But if I duck, I eat forward 3 to heat engage, and then possible crouch mix up. Like it's just a very explosive.
Yes, and this is a key element of design. Again, go back to Leo to think about this, right? They intentionally made it so that Leo's down forward 2 could not launch crouches. And you can tell that that choice was made so that you could freely move in such a way as to circumvent the hell sweep. Right? You can tell that these two things are designed, right? Whereas in this game, they've done the opposite. Not only have they made lows more powerful, but as you've just said, they've also given the characters powerful options to counteract the thing that you would do to neutralize the low. You get what I'm saying? So not only are the lows powerful, they've given the characters options that are like really dangerous, so you can't just step the steppable low. You get what I'm saying? Or like they've given them really scary mid, so you can't just duck the scary low. Like they've intentionally done this, right, on both ends. Made the low scary and made the option that you can use to defend against the low also scary.
Yeah, the neutral is way scarier. I mean, Black Kite, Horang. I mean, that is like almost like one of the, funny enough, it's on Horang, but if you isolate the move, it's almost like a less egregious example because you're also dealing with last stand freebirds +5. But Leo is actually, you know, I didn't. Down forward 2, they did very late in Tekken 7. In
season 4. Season 4. Yeah.
And Leo, chat, Leo is the fucking canary in the coal mine because she is because in Tech, this is also the best example that I told you once before in Tekken 6. He had in vanilla the low out of block and they took it out. And he didn't have it for like more than 15 years almost. And then it came back. That is the canary.
Where Leo goes, Tekken also goes. I'm telling you, Leo is Tekken. I know Leo's boring. No one cares. The design decisions there, if you watch what happened to KNK, KNK was a very basic stance with a singular low option that was non-threatening. And over time, things got added to KNK, including up to and including a fucking hell sweep. That, you talk about canary in the coal mine? That's what we're talking about right here. Like, that's what we're talking
about. Also, was fucking KNK4, was that a counter hit launcher in Tekken 7? No, right?
No, it wasn't a counter hit launcher.
It was a knockdown, right?
No, it wasn't even a knockdown. It was a big stomp where you were like plus whatever.
It wasn't even a knockdown.
It wasn't even a knockdown.
Bro, okay, fuck me. Oh yeah, now I remember. It was the toe. The
toe one, but it was like, my leg. Yeah, exactly. You were like plus a billion, but like they could block. Yeah, it was that. So yeah, fucking the canary in the coal mine, right? It's so fucked up. It's so fucked up. And like, but yeah, they've unshackled the PGB. And so Tekken has transitioned from a game with weak PGBs into strong PGBs. And this has real ramifications into the way the game feels.
Can you write on your canvas?
No, this is a pre-made presentation. Why? What do you want to add?
Because someone asked PGB because it's not written out somewhere.
Someone came late.
Preferred guard break, right?
This is what happens when you come late to class, Super Skywalker. No, I'm kidding. But essentially, the primary guard break, quickly for this, is that it is the universal option that beats the default guard. So in Tekken, the default guard is stand blocking. So that option in Tekken is the low. Whereas in Street Fighter, the default option is holding down back to block, and so what beats that is throwing, right? And so the principle the universal theory I'm trying to coin here is that the stronger your PGB is, right, the stronger the lows are in Tekken, the stronger the throws are in Street Fighter, the more aggressive the game will inevitably be because you cannot afford to block anymore, right? That's what I'm talking about. And that shift has been radical and intentional, right? It's an intentional choice, and it's not necessarily a bad choice, but it is a radical choice. If you have spent 7 years playing a game with weak PGBs, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh fuck, it's a real jarring thing. And people who enjoyed 7 obviously have self-sorted into the Tekken franchise, right? Another loose example of this is like I really hate zoning in fighting games, right? Just standing back and throwing fireballs at each other. And I remember talking to one of my buddies who also hates zoning, and he was saying, I really think that Mortal Kombat should have less zoning. And I remember arguing with him like, okay, but like there are people who like zoning. And I think if they change it to satisfy us, they'd also be pissing off the people who happen to like zoning. Because if you're somebody who likes zoning in fighting games, you only really have the NRS games. There's nothing else for you. And so if that kind of transforms for you, then you're kind of losing out. And so it's not necessarily that zoning is bad, but different players have preferences, and you will typically sort yourself into the game that caters to your preference. And so if you're someone who prefers having weak PGBs, right? And so you'd have to win through timing and through this almost like jousting contest of like trying to get to each other, a slower pace, then you became a Tekken player. And so for Tekken to become this sort of like high intensity, strong PGB game, does sort of feel like a rug pull. And this is a large part of the shift in game feel. That's what I'm trying to sell to people. If you disagree, feel free to raise it in the comments. But like, I think this is the major shift, right?
And it is funny how, you know, how long that was boiling. Like, for example, with King, for to like suddenly, you know, it's like minus 13, what is it, plus 5? Like the buffing of lows, and it already started in Tekken 7.
Yeah, you can tell. Yeah,
but it's like and people were also kind of weary about it. Like it's not that people ignored this and were like, I mean, you had the meme video. Spec also said it. 3DX said it. Like this constant buffing out of weaknesses.
Don't forget Frame Whisper.
Frame Whisper, and it's crazy that Tekken 8 still, to a lot of people, was such a culture shock.
Yes,
right?
Yes.
It's a bit crazy.
But it's a classic example of, like, you know, if you put a frog in hot water and you only slowly raise the heat, they don't notice, right? But if you throw them in like it's hot at the beginning, they'll fucking panic. It was like that.
It was already a bit warm, but suddenly it was literally literally boiling.
Yeah. It caught us out. We could already feel it in Tekken 7, but because we were starting from a place that we love, you're kind of like, okay, well, this character's a bit annoying, but most of the game's fine. Okay, this character's a bit annoying, but most of the game's fine.
And we had bullshit. Like, we had mad, but like, for example, Fort 1+2 from Juliet was safe for a long time, the wall split, and only late got like, we had mad bullshit in Tekken 7 as well, but just so I don't get... Trust me, guys, I played Akuma. I don't have a rose-tinted glasses on, all right? I know this game had bullshit, all right?
Yeah, but again, it's if a game is 80% solid and has 20% bullshit, that's one thing. If a game is 50% bullshit, it's very different, right? So it's a lot of it comes down to ratio and the speed of change. But yeah, hopefully you can see the theory that I'm going with, and hopefully you agree. And if not, then you obviously leave a comment. And this is another thing that I want to introduce, right? So guard break cost. I was tempted to have another acronym, GBC, but I have too many acronyms. But like, the cost of a guard break plays a large role in the satisfaction of it. Because as much as people complain about throws in Street Fighter, for most characters, if you eat the throw, you're only taking a bit of damage. It's not that deep, right? And the lows, if you eat a low in Tekken, for the most part, there's a limited amount of damage that you're taking. But that changes somewhat. Like, you know, I talked about how the 50-50 for 50, right? When you're on like a wall explosion stage and then Eddie hits you with 4-4-3, and now you have to guess for your life, right? Because the lower wall splat you and the middle wall splat you. Yeah, right. Exactly. It's like, oh, fuck. Like, so there are situations where the low will cost you everything. But also the fact that in Street Fighter, even if, let's say, I stand up to, let's say I try to attack the throw, right? But you hit me with a combo. If you don't have meter, the amount of damage I take isn't that great, right? Whereas in Tekken, heat or no heat, like, if I get launched, it's going to be a bad time, right? So the point I want to make is that the cost of getting guard broken in Tekken is actually, I would argue, way higher. Not only in terms of damage, but also in terms of fucking time. Just sitting there, just watching yourself get comboed. There's a lot of that too, right? Like, and
Street Fighter in this case is obviously a bit of a weird example, because if that motherfucker is level 3 and you get shimmied, you literally eat in Street Fighter 80% damage combos. But
that's if, right? And that's if. And again, I'm not saying that excuses it. That's part of the frustration. Part of the reason why. Go on.
It's just when I thought about it, my main point. Look, I'm not an authority on Street Fighter, even though I understand the game. I've 700 hours, but I wouldn't call myself an authority. But I always felt like throw loops are too cheap. Yes. And it's kind of funny if you consider that you have meter in Street Fighter and you have an actual resource that you get penalized if you burn it up. And I still just think throw loops are too cheap. Yeah. And the funny part is, if you look at Tekken, heat is free. It's so free. Like,
that's because you're a Tekken player. That's my point. And I'm with you. I play Street Fighter, and I was like, I play Street Fighter because I was trying to avoid sort of like the cheapness of it. And I came to Street Fighter, and I'm like, this is also cheap. And it's like, maybe not as cheap as Tekken 8, but it's also cheap. Yeah, and it's really funny. So you come here going to this clearly a superior product, hoping to find, I'll find what I'm looking for. But then you realize when you play enough of it, this ain't either cheap. This ain't it either. Like, there's no escaping the cheapness. But at least with Street Fighter, they've always kind of been cheap. That cheapness is kind of honest to Street Fighter to some extent. Whereas like Tekken, as a Tekken player, is still new. So you leave Tekken trying to find the promised land. But there is no promised land. Cheapness follows you wherever you go. Like, Tekken 7 was like the only safe haven, and now that's gone. So it's like, fuck. Which is kind of why you go to another fighting game hoping to find the promised land, and you just don't. And it's really frustrating. But like, the point I'm trying to make is that even with Street Fighter, I would argue it's even less cheap, because obviously if they don't have meter, it's still frustrating as fuck, but it's not as frustrating. And so you can make calculated guesses. You're like, okay, if they have meter, I probably will just take the throw. If they don't have meter, okay, maybe I'll take the risk. You know what I mean? So there's at least a bit of a mind game there. Whereas like, you can't really say that for heat, because even if they don't have heat, you're still taking a bunch of damage. You're still taking a fucking bunch of damage. And more often than not, they do have heat, right? So it's like they're either in heat to get you into the combo, or they don't have heat and they'll pop heat mid combo and you're going into bullshit, right? So like, it's the long story short, this bullet point is to point out the fact, what up, genius? Is to point out the fact that like, the cost of getting guard broken in this game is really high, and that's always been the case in Tekken. Getting comboed has always been a nightmare. But when PGBs were weak, right, there was more you could do to prevent that horrible experience, right? Like my buddies have always non-Tekken players have always complained about like, oh, combos take too long, and I always defended it. in Tekken 7, because I was like, because the things you could do to avoid being in that state are so much. I was like, that's on you. Like, I would just be like a skill issue. Like, getting combo sucks, but like, if you have a good enough defense, you don't have to worry about that too much. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to worry. And maybe I was being a bit too harsh. Maybe my non-Tekken playing friends actually were spot on. But I felt that because getting comboed is such a horrible experience, the number of things you need to be able to do to stop yourself from getting comboed. How do I put this? Getting comboed in this game is so horrible that it's even more important that defense is good. Does that make sense? Because like, I need to be able to prevent that from happening to me. Because it really sucks. And combo length in this game is even longer now than it was back in the day. And so
launchers are in heat +5 on block.
Yeah, exactly. And +5 so it's fucking crazy, right? But like, I want to come back to a point that we made. I remember you were in the chat too. When you remember when we were having that Mike Holler stream, and I was talking about the island, right? Like, people still make fun of me when it comes to the island. For those of you who weren't in that infamous chat, we were talking about how everyone was talking about how Tekken basically needed to go back to the way it was. And I was saying, look, I don't necessarily think they need to go back to the way they was. I think they have a choice, right? The choice is as follows. And we're going to use the framework I'm using now to explain it. Blow the fucking fire energy. I think the island analogy is where we're at, right? And I still stand by this. We have two choices. One, we can reduce the PGBs, right? The primary go back, make lows weak again, and reduce the options, right? And that would be like going back to Tekken 7. We can do that potentially. That's one way, right? So instead of sailing to the new island, we can go back, retreat, come back to the known land, right? Reduce the PGBs and keep them weak. But you have another option that I wanted everyone in that chat to consider. And that option was, hey, let's keep lows risky. I mean, let's keep lows being the mixers being cheap. Let's keep powerful mid options. But then maybe let's talk about reducing combo damage. Let's maybe talk about reducing combo length, right? No,
it's a bit funny. I mean, I played a significant amount of Tekken 7 in the last months. And I don't think this is actually a hot take. I think this is a little bit because people, I don't know if this is not a feeling, because I played that game. I have to say, Tekken 7 combo damage literally is higher than Tekken 8.
It is. It's way higher, right? It's way higher. It's way higher.
I would maybe not say way higher, but like, I mean, it's unscaled. It's non-gray.
Yeah, that's the key thing. It's non-gray.
It's non-gray, and every single character gets almost every single character gets at least 50. Like, if there's a wall, clean 50, if not 55.
Yeah, totally, right? But why did we not complain about that? We didn't complain about it because there was so much you could do to stop it from happening, right? There was so much you could do. Like, when you got launched, it was because you pushed a button when you shouldn't have been pushing a button. You got counter hit. And this is again the key element of this thing. And this is the key crux of this bullet point. If you want to keep super high combo damage, super long combo length or whatever, fine. But you need to give me tons of tools to be able to fucking defend against it, right? You need to give me tons of tools to defend, because it sucks when it happens to you. It should just happen fucking casually, right? At the same time, though, if instead, like, no, but we want the Unga Bunga high number of interactions, high number of guesses, you can do that too. That can be fun. But that, to me, is like going to the island. But if you want to do that, then you need to reduce the combo length, and you gotta reduce the combo damage, and I beg you, shorten the length of fucking rage art animations, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you can go either way, and both are valid. And in some ways, that's kind of what Season 3 needs to decide it wants to do, right? Which is why I'm like, I'm really scared of Season 3, because I'm like, I don't know what they want to do. Like, it's obvious that something radical has to happen for Season 3, right? But what is that radical thing? We need to know. Right? It's either one of, I feel like, if I'm wrong, let me know in the chat. Like, I feel like surely it has to be one of these options. Either you need to reduce the strength of PGBs, right? You need to reduce the strength of lows, give us options to move around low options, kind of like we had in Tekken 7. Then you can keep the high combo damage and the craziness, the cost of being wrong. You can keep it that high. But it seems to me that they are very much wedded to, no, we want a high number of interactions. We want a game where defense is so unreliable that you have to go on offense. You can't afford to hide behind your guard. That's valid. But then, if you're going to force me to make those guesses, then you got to make the cost of being wrong not my whole life, and not only my whole life in terms of the amount of my health I lose, but the amount of time I lose too. Like, getting comboed in this game is so much more frustrating. And if I eat another hour-long Jin aerial tailspin combo, I'll die. I'll die, bro. I can't do it.
Like,
bro.
I for me personally, the honest, I have to say, like, I have to be honest about this. Like, the health increase did something to that, and Speedkicks has a point when he says the health increase makes you able to eat more lows.
Yeah.
But for me, it's not even the damage is not even my personal biggest issue. It's, like I said, the length of the combos. Yeah. And I very much dislike, this is maybe even my, honestly, this might be even my, like, very, very high priority thing. Do I call it this? Basically, low quality interactions.
Yes.
I don't think it is a particularly interesting scenario to, in every game, every round against every character. Oh, he's in heat. So, okay, what's gonna be heat smash, or is it gonna be the like some very good killer mid that I have to block? It's too dangerous to move, so I wait it out.
But you still have to guess afterwards.
And I block a mid. I'm -5. It's again and again. It's uninteresting. It's so cookie cutter. It's uninteresting. Yeah. I think these interactions are not interesting.
Yeah. And I think that's a large part of the issue. And again, part of the reason I've not been making content is because I don't just want to keep rehashing Tekken 2. Season 2 sucks. Tekken 8 sucks. I only want to. In some ways, I only want to present possible solutions, which is what this video is about, right? Given what we've just described, right, it seems to me that the options, something radical has happened for Season 3. I think most people would agree with that. And I'm actually really forgiving of the fact that they are not making any changes. Because people keep saying, like, oh, we need more regular changes. But I'm like, what needs to change in this game is so large that I actually want them to take 6 months. You know what I'm saying? Like, I actually want them to take 6 months, 7 months, 8 months, however long it takes. Because it's big. Like, it's not like, oh, fix this move, and everything will be okay. No. We need deep surgery beyond the cosmetic. And therefore, if it's going to take them 7 months to do it, so be it. Right? Like, I've always been like, I'm actually more forgiving of the fact that they are taking so long to make the changes. Because that at least signals, I could be wrong, right? But that at least signals they know they have to go to the core of whatever happens in Season 3, right? And that's actually, I think that's a good signal. But what upsets me is not the amount of time it's going to take them before they make changes. It's the fact that they have not really signaled in a convincing way what the changes are going to be, right? Because, and in some ways, there's nothing they can do. Because don't forget, before Season 2, they said all the right things, and then Season 2 came out, and it was a mess. So even if they came out and said all the right things this time, would you believe them? I don't know that I would, right? So maybe they're kind of caught between a rock and a hard place, and they're like, let's not say anything, let's just do. Let's just give them, everyone's hating, everyone's mad, and there's nothing we can say that'll satisfy them. So let's just go away, and then wow their socks off for Season 3. Maybe that's what they're thinking, right? Maybe like there's nothing we can say with our mouth to sell them. But these motherfuckers are hooked. If we give them an amazing Season 3, they'll all come back. So let's just focus on that. Maybe that's their strategy. Maybe.
Personally, I always remind myself of the statement that Murray made, which I can fully understand as someone who can at least envision how it is to like spend so many man hours at one project that everything has to come together and you need to have a vision together. Where he said that we had this philosophy for it, we wanted to try it.
Yes.
The aggressive philosophy, and he said that mid-project to go away from this, like to go to the other direction, that is A, not that easy to do, and B, can basically rip the game apart to a certain degree and make it like basically what I mean. I kind of get what he means. Totally. So I would basically I'm armoring myself for like the expectation of probably not much is gonna happen. Yeah. I think they are kind of like trying for this game to drive this course and see where it leads. And because I don't know, no one has the numbers. How happy they are or not happy they are with sales, we don't know. Yeah, we don't. But the numbers are stable. The numbers are way higher than they were in Tekken, and not way higher, but they are on the PC version at least higher than they were in Tekken 7. So I don't know, but I'm armoring myself for like it's gonna be like kind of like this.
No, I'm with you. I have no expectations. I don't have any faith in them at all. But I have hopes, which are a separate thing. I would love for Tekken to be great again, right? And the thing is, I think all of us, even if we disagree on what the source of the problems are, I think we all recognize that in order for this game to be a game that the players are happy with and the devs are happy with, a lot will have to change. And so I am, for example, I don't want to get upset with with the fellow content creators, but there was a lot of content creators kind of being angry at the quote unquote titty patch. Right, like they can patch can patch Asuka titties and they can't fix the balance. I'm like, okay, but those are two separate groups of people. Like, it's not the people responsible for Asuka's titties are not the same people responsible for balance. So it's like, so I understand the frustration because it comes from a deeper place of frustration that I share. It's like, we're waiting for this patch, and all you can release to us is this thing that you're going to sell to us. That's that.
It's funny because for me it's not for me it's for me like the balance thing. I already was kind of like fuck that anyways. But I was angry that, first of all, they literally patched a microtransaction. Yeah, exactly. That is crazy to me in 2 weeks.
It's a bad vibe.
But I needed to wait
half a year.
Almost 5 months for the inferior macro. No. That was where I was like, guys, for example, Chat, how about I can then relish in my waifus, and I have an option, for example, if I play against your Wendy's Ling, that if I meet you in ranked, I can Chat the third, and I'm in the aftermatch screen. Check customizations. I see all your customizations. I can copy paste them into my data, or I can rank them, or this is good. This gets thumbs up. That would be sick. So I'm literally like, hey, can you maybe give me and I asked programmers, by the way. I asked Parkour Grip, who worked on the Tekken overlay, and I asked him how easy would something like this be to realize, or a macro function like Street Fighter has, and he says if you have the source code, this is literally basic shit. Yeah, it is. That is why I'm angry. Sorry, I don't want to yet. No,
I'm with you. I think that's valid. You're right. Even if we look past game balance things, there are lots of things that they can do user interface wise, user experience wise. I still can't believe it took a year and a half for us to be able to see our win rate against individual characters. I think that's crazy.
Or maybe how about an acknowledgement that people still cheat and plug in this game?
Oh, well, that's another thing. That's never happening. Get over it. But no. So again, my beef wasn't that. I don't think people were wrong to be frustrated with that. But at the same time, I am okay with the devs taking large time to fix balance because again, it's not like just remove this
for balance. Yes. I also said it in my video for balance. It's
not like
I don't even expect anything.
Yeah, it's like don't make this move -6 to -5 now to game 6. I'm like, I need them to look at every hitbox of every move, including one jabs, and re-examine them. So I'm like, okay, if that's what I want from them, then maybe you do take 6 months, maybe you do take 8 months, and then because that's going to change everything. In fact, the kind of change I would like, and again, here's a change I would like, but I think I'm in the minority, and which is why I'm like, I feel so bad for developers. I would like for them to be like, you know what? we're getting rid of tailspin. Tailspin's gone. Not only hard aerial tailspin, just the corkscrew feature. There is none. If you want to extend your compo beyond the initial hits, you have to use heat. That is
actually pretty
seismic.
Interesting.
Everyone will be pissed.
Chad, the thing is, this is the exact kind of change where in the year 2025 of our Lord, there should be a beta realm. To test this shit out. Because when you just said it, I was like, it doesn't sound like a terrible, like, it doesn't sound like an idea you would not at least try.
You gotta try it. You gotta try it,
but we can't. We can't. They have to do it into the live game. So
think about what would happen, right? Think about what would happen. Combo damage way down, so you could reduce the health again. No longer has to be 200 health, right? You would have a higher number of interactions, right? And when you guess wrong, you won't feel as bad because you're not gonna eat 50. You can eat 25, maybe 30, right? And not only that, the Mixup players will be happy because the electric is such a good filler that it would actually make them maybe the highest damage characters in the game if you have the execution, right? Like, it would do so, and you can still keep tailspin at the wall. Oh, no, actually, no, we'll get rid of that. No tailspin at the wall. I'll take it back. No tailspin anywhere, right? I think it would be very interesting, right? Now, don't get me wrong, some people on Twitter would complain, right? But it would make the winner of each game no longer the one who happens to land the launcher of each round. It would be the one who happens to win the highest number of interactions in a match. Which, like, and ultimately that's what we want. Because I think we've all had times where it's like, I've won a game.
Depends.
Well, go on.
There are a shit ton of people who like, Tekken, that means big combos, that is fun for me.
Yeah, it's true. Combos are the ultimate, like, skill reduction gap, right? Because I only have to win, 50% of the round, right? I get that. And you're right. I'm curious to know who launches must be nice. Look at the Steve player over here. No, but like, I don't know. I think maybe I should do a poll at some point. Like who would like that versus who wouldn't. But I suspect more people would enjoy it. And this is the kind of shift for me that would be like moving towards the island, right? Because we would truly be moving away from Tekken 7 at this point, right? Because it would be a higher number of interactions, but lower combo damage. I think that's a fair trade. And it's a very different game, but it's potentially a game that's arguably maybe more fun for more people. Maybe, right? Whereas right now, we have the worst of both worlds, I feel like. Because you still have the done combo damage from 7, but you don't have the way to mitigate and avoid that you had in 7. So it just fucking sucks. It just fucking sucks. But yeah, you were about to say something.
Also, just because I want to be on record saying this, because you mentioned this 2 sentences ago, I also want to be on record saying this, that I have the utmost sympathies for the actual developer and the creative team in the sense of, it doesn't matter how stupid they heard everything, right? They were... It doesn't matter how stupid you think they are or something. I can tell you, no one goes to the office every single day creating something that people are supposed to have fun with.
And they complain.
Doing that for over a year for season 2. Then that shit launches, and you want nothing more than people you are a game, like you create video games. You want people to have fundamentally fun with that shit. Yes. That is what you do. That is what you want.
Yes.
And with that reaction that happened, where basically people shit, basically literally shit on them, almost fucking literally, that has to feel fucking terrible. And I think they didn't want that. So in that case, emotionally, they have my sympathy. No one does this and develops this and works for this shit for almost a year to then have that reaction and is happy about it. Yep. So. No, I just want to be on record saying this.
No, I'm with you. And that's part of the reason why I find myself pulling away from sort of a lot of the Tekken conversation, because people's frustrations are legitimate, but it's curling into resentment towards one another at the player base, which is weird, and also malice towards the game developers. And I'm like, I don't really have malice. For me, I feel that they tried to do something well and they failed. And all creative people know what that's like. If you've ever tried to write a book or a play or fucking even a poem, or you've ever tried to code something, or you've ever tried to create something, you know what it's like. I have this vision in my head, right? I have this idea of how the end consumer will feel about it, and you can fail on 2 fronts. You can fail to create the thing that you wanted in your head. That's often a big failure. Or, sometimes even more tragically, you can succeed in creating the thing you had in your head, and then present it to the audience only for them to hate it, right? It's like, oh, fuck. And that happens all the time. So I have no hate in my heart, right? Which is why whenever I make my criticism videos, I try... That's the key word. Yo, what up, Courage Joe? I try to be I try to present like a good okay, here's what I don't like, here's why I don't like it.
I need to one thing.
No, go on.
Chat. I'm sorry to do this, but you know me.
You got to.
The guy with the Korean name in the chat. You once were in one of my videos. You were one of the most stupid people I ever encountered in this game because you couldn't. He was like a Tekken 8, like kind of
defender,
drone.
Sure.
And I asked him to basically wait a minute. What did you say? Ah, yeah, you came into chat and asked me if I won Evo and shit. Since I think Tekken 7 is so goated and Tekken 8 sucks. Were you any better at Tekken 7? You are that guy. I have the video open right now. So in case you want to go, bro, like we can go Tekken 7 right after this if you want. You dog shit. That's all I wanted to say. Sorry. Because I read that name. It was like, you are not that guy. In the background, I opened up my own video and was like, let me check if this is the guy. It is that guy.
It is that guy. No, but the thing is, it's true. Let's not say that Tekken 7 was perfect, but we love Tekken 7. Genius, I love Finn. Finn will not let something go. Finn will not let something go.
That's the guy.
That's him. It's him. I'm calling Judge Dredd. He's on that end.
Sorry.
Chat. No, you guys sort that out. It's all good. I respect it. But yeah, no, but Tekken 7 isn't, to be fair, Tekken 7 isn't infallible, but it clearly satisfied its audience in a way that Tekken 8 is not. And I'm just trying to figure out how to square that circle. And we've been on this bullet point for a long time now, but it is the crux of this entire presentation. The fact that there's a fork in the road, right? You can either make, again, defending easier, and then you can keep the high cost of being wrong, or you can reduce the cost of being wrong, and then it'll be less frustrating that we have a million interactions per second where I have to guess for my life, because I no longer have to guess for my life. I'm just guessing for this chunk of my health, right? And it could lead to a situation where you're able, I have to guess, but because you have to make me guess wrong, let's say 12 times or 10 times, it gives me a longer amount of time to understand your tendencies. When do you hell sweep? When do you go for that low? Right now, like, you have so little time to make that guess, right? To make that assumption or to make that read, that like it often feels very unstable. And of course, a superior player can still beat sufficiently an inferior player, of course.
Oh, yes.
But the gap is way smaller now, and it's the path to victory is way less appealing in this game than it was in 7. I feel like, and I think a lot of people feel that way.
Yeah, it's more. I feel like I'm playing more poker if I want to play.
Yeah.
Like if I want to play, because I'm just a lame player. Maybe I have this like Justin Wong syndrome or something.
No, I think we all do. That's why
I'm just but it is in this game. It is obviously a self barrier that I want to not overextend at all. Mm-hmm. I want to basically. I'm also like that when I play poker, right? Mm-hmm. Like I play very tight. Yeah. But that also means if you're pretty risk averse, mm-hmm. you can't win big.
Yes.
But this game wants you to win big.
And that's a great way of putting it. I'm glad you used that term, actually, risk averse, because I am risk averse by nature in most games I play, which is why Tekken appealed to me in a way that every other fighting game I tried doesn't. Right? And again, that's not a good thing or a bad thing, right? Maybe Tekken was too defensive. Maybe it was, but like the reason why Tekken players become Tekken players is because they like that. Oh, let me rephrase it. Every fighting game makes demands of you as a player, as a man, as a person, right? If you want to get good at this, you must master this, and you must learn to think this way, right? And what Tekken 7 demanded of you, I found really appealing. And what Tekken 8 demands of you, I really don't. And so even though I could, of course, become far better at Tekken 8, the question I find myself asking more importantly is like, do I want to? And the answer is often no. And the higher and higher up in the skill distribution I go, I'm like, okay, there's clearly a gap. If I want to go to the next level, I have to be willing to be more this, willing to be more this, willing to be more this. And I find myself going, but do I want to though? Do I want to do that? And then when I watch high level playing, do I find myself going like, oh, that's so elegant, that's so beautiful, I want to do it? The answer increasingly is no. And it's like, it takes a certain amount of effort to reach the top 50% of the player distribution. It takes twice as much to reach the next 20. It takes 4 times as much to get. It gets harder and harder to go higher and higher level. And I find myself for the first time in my sort of Tekken life being like, I am as good at Tekken as I want to be. Like, I don't want to get better. And I didn't think that would ever be the case, because for me it was exponential. I always want to get better, right? No matter where I was in Tekken distribution, higher level Tekken looked so good and so interesting and so fascinating that I wanted to do whatever it takes to get there. And I find myself, the higher and higher up I go in Tekken 8, I'm like, man, this game is asking me to just really put my ass out there. And I don't like it. I could do that. I could get better. I clearly know I'm not the best player I want in the world, but like I don't really want to be. And like when I play Street Fighter, it was another example. All right, I reached master rank, which is in the grand scheme of things isn't that high. But I was like, okay, if I want to get further and I want to start getting good MR, I have to learn certain things. I have to master certain things. And I'm like, I don't really want to. I don't want to. And I reached the point where I don't really want to get better at this game anymore. And it breaks my heart though, because Tekken was a game that was a mountain I really wanted to climb. And when I look at high-level Tekken now, no matter who I'm watching, people who I respect, the people I respect tremendously. Right? I always respect competence when I see it. But I'm like, I don't want to do this, bro. I really just, I don't want to, I don't want to do it. I know what you are asking me to do, Harada, and I don't want to do it.
For me, it's very fortunate. It's fortunate that I can still, what's the right word? Gas myself up to, appreciate this, what is being done there, where it's basically a constant weighing of like risk reward.
Yeah,
and when you see people like literally play a certain situation where you like for example, something like I saw Ulsan do it like these small things where Anna is doing blah 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 hammer chance 3+4, where I think it has high. Maybe not crush, but high evade, the double, what is it? Not double kicks, but it's like this kick, and it pushes you away. It's -12.
Yes.
And when I see like, and I know it's not something like insanely big, but when I see like Ulsan punish with 12 frame Dragunov mid because the kick reaches, right?
Yes.
I'm like, nice.
Nice. I'm with you. I'm with you. Yeah, I'm with you. I know exactly what you mean. It's like there is still something. There is still something great about watching someone's mastery of their character. Being like, this is a very specific thing. Yeah.
Ayurichi on Leo. When I see him do constantly like side step block, and tries to get this one poke to whiff, and how he should do a video about this. Like I know he also is a bit in the how do you say this? How do you say like when animals go to winter sleep, hibernation? Yes. He's a little bit in hibernation, but he should analyze. If maybe he did, or I need to write him. I can write him on Discord that he needs to. Sorry, I'm fucking yapping, but he needs to analyze his own games and make YouTube video about that, and like what his decision making there. It was beautiful at versus fighting.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Every time I watch this motherfucker, I'm like, maybe I want to boot the game up, and I do, and I'm like, I don't want to play this game anymore. But you're right. No, but this is what I'm saying. Competence is always impressive, right? Like it's not a coincidence that fucking Arslan is the fucking 300-time Evo champion, right? It's not a coincidence. Like this is clearly a game of skill, right? It's clearly a game of skill, and
it's funny because Arslan himself is still someone. If I were to ask him right now, hey, do you think the quality of interactions are like bad in this game? He'd say yes.
Yeah, exactly. No, but it is though. It is at every level, right? He is sufficiently good enough that he could body me, but then he still finds himself in situations with people who are perhaps not as good as him, but they're still making him sweat and stress in a way that in another game they wouldn't be able to, right? And
Arslan is probably the biggest thorn in the sides of like Tekken 8. People who are very romantic in a very romantic relationship with the game. Arslan Ash is probably the biggest thorn because like 2 times Evo champion and back to back and would still say game's ass.
It's so funny. He famously does that. Remember in season 1, it's like, I can't wait to win so I can tell you the game is ass. Because obviously when he was saying the game was ass, people were like, you're just saying that because you're not winning anymore. It's like, I can't wait to win so I can tell you the game is ass.
Bro, sometimes you have to actually look back and like, I know it was season 1, but I mean that in a Tekken game, you have like a player that dominant in season 1, like Ulsan, right? And he literally stands up after a tournament and says, I want to give a big thank you to Dragunov for carrying me this far, this dog shit braindead character. Like that's wild. This was like prior to Tekken 8. Sentences like this were like
no one would say that.
No one would say that. Yeah. But Ulsan, right? Like, thank you to Dragunov, braindead. It's like,
I remember there was an interview with Chanel. It's like, hey, is there anything that you're I think it was anything you're nervous about? It's like, I listen nerves. Like, that was the only thing. That was the only thing. Because everyone at the highest level of play is like, I know what this game is. Like, we know what this game. We're playing this Kusage. Right? We're playing this Kusage, and like we're really good at this Kusage. The way that one can get good at any Kusage, but like you're playing into the cracks. You're playing into the deficiencies of the game. Right? and it's just really funny having that. But it's good that you mentioned this about like there's still skill and nuance to be played even in the guessing game.
Oh yes,
because I want to talk about Virtua Fighter, right? And this is essentially the final slide, because as I said at the beginning, everyone kind of thinks of me as a Virtua Fighter shill because I've seen the light on Virtua Fighter. But here's the thing: I'm still a Tekken player at heart. Like I said earlier on, for those of you who missed it, if I could choose between having an amazing Tekken game and an amazing Virtua Fighter game, I would choose Tekken. I want peak Tekken more than I like Virtua Fighter. But the reason why I've fallen in love with Virtua Fighter is because Tekken 8 has created the situation where it's like the only 3D games available to me are very aggressive, guess-heavy games. And out of the two, Virtua Fighter is the better aggressive guess-heavy game, right? I would rather not play a super aggressive 3D guess-heavy game. But if I have to, I want to play a game where the guessing is interesting. Does that make sense? Right? So that's why, in a weird way, as much as I love Virtua Fighter, I feel like I'm settling for it because both games are going in this direction, and Virtua Fighter is the better game of that direction. But I would rather.
I don't want to be an asshole.
No, go. Be an asshole. That's why you're here.
Virtua Fighter. When you say Virtua Fighter is like the game right now,
sure.
Like Virtua Fighter 5.
Yes.
Is that game or was it? Like, is it dead?
It is that game. Is that game that game? It is that game. The problem is that a game is more than just its mechanics, right? A game is its player base. A game is its aesthetics. A game is its like content creation environment. And in all those regards, the game is dead, right? And so the reason why I'm not playing Virtua Fighter all the time is because I will boot up Virtua Fighter.
Every time I saw you play this game, you said it was okay because the game works different with hit and block stun, that you can do it. But every time I saw you play it, you were literally you were going into connection limit and set it to world. You had to.
Yep, exactly.
Worldwide.
That's exactly it. That's exactly what I'm about to say. So it's like, Tekken 8, as bad as it is, I can put that game up right now and find a game. Easy, no issue. And not only that can I find a game, I'll play against different people I've never played before. Or I have played so long ago that I don't even remember them. When I boot up Virtua Fighter, it will be ages to find a game, or when I do find a game, it'll be one of 6 people. Right? Like, that's the thing. It's always be the same people, right? And even when I watch Virtua Fighter streams, it's always the boys and Tricky playing against the boys and
Tricky Eileen, yeah.
Right? It's always the same people. It's always the same people playing the same game, right? You can't find games anywhere, right? And that's the nightmare, right? And so when I talk about so if people are like, there's no players, and I won't fault them for not playing it because it's frustrating, right? But what I'm talking about now, and what we'll talk about going forward, is the mechanics. Because I do believe that mechanically, if we were living in a platonic ideal where the only thing that mattered was the mechanics of the game, Virtua Fighter is that game. And I'm going to go into.
I want to stress that also the Main Man 3 praised the mechanics of this game.
Yeah, sure. After shitting on it,
We'll
relitigate that next time. Yes, you are correct.
We do. Sorry, I take that back. At one point, we're gonna do it. We're gonna do a proxy discussion about it, and I am Main Man or some shit.
Oh god, yeah, I can't wait for that. But in the meantime, going back to what I was saying about okay, both Tekken 8 and Virtua Fighter have decided that they want to have a aggressive game and that means that the PGB needs to be strong. And in both games, they are strong, right? And we want a game where you have to constantly make guesses. Both games have decided to do that. And Virtua Fighter does that better. And I want to go through the way Virtua Fighter does it. And hopefully, simply by explaining it to you, you'll understand why I became such a fucking Virtua Fighter shill, right?
I saw your video once, so I kind of like have bits and pieces of like, throw, but every strike is, I think, throw reversal. But you go.
No, you already see where I'm going with this, right? So, okay, so Virtua Fighter has the best PGB system in all fighting games. I'm calling it now. I think the PGB in Virtua Fighter is better than in Street Fighter with its fucking annoying throw loop situation, and it's better than the fucking obnoxious lows and tracking mid options that we have in Street Fighter in Tekken, right? I think
Tekken 8. I would say Tekken 8 is low plus frames in like heavy.
Yes,
I would say, right?
Yes. So Virtua Fighter. No. Say I'm plus frames, but the thing is, plus frames wouldn't be bad if there wasn't a low. You can have all the plus frames in the world if there's not a throw to turn, right?
Yeah, you're kind of right.
Because you're kind of right. So the threat of the throw of the plus frames come from the low. If there's no low, I don't care. You give me plus 1,000,000. I don't give a fuck. You can't threaten me with nothing. It's the fact that it's plus frames and the fear of the low, and the only way to mitigate the low is to put myself in place in the mid, but the mid is plus, right? Like that's the thing. So even the plus frames are really an extension of the low, right? And so, Virtua Fighter, I think, has the best PGB system. And when I finish talking, you will understand why, right? So, the PGB in Virtua Fighter is the throw, like in Street Fighter, right? They are unreactable like in Street Fighter, right? But, right, this is for those of you who don't know, and this
they are a mix, right?
Yeah, forgive me for those of you who do know, for the 6 of you who know, but this will be very, very beneficial for people who don't. In Street Fighter, in order to break the throw, you have to press basically the throw command at the same time that the opponent tries to throw you. So you basically have to guess not only what they're going to do it, but when they're going to do it, the exact timing, right? This makes it very tricky, right? In Tekken, you don't really have to do that. Simply by holding back, if any mid comes out, you'll block it, right? In Virtua Fighter, you can kind of do both. Throws in Virtua Fighter are either a forward throw, a back throw, or a neutral throw. But while you're holding the guard button, right? So I'm going to imagine that you're holding the guard button. While you are guarding, you can simultaneously press P while you're guarding and the direction. So for example, imagine I'm holding the block button, but
so can be broken while guarding.
Exactly, yes. So I'm guarding, but I'm also, let's say, holding P and back. So if you do a mid, I'll block it. If you do a high, I'll block it. But if you do a forward throw, I said holding back. If you do a back throw, I'll also break that. So I'm able to both block and throw break one of 3 options, right? So so there's this game when you're blocking that you're not just blocking, you're choosing which direction of throw you want to break, right? That's one thing. That's one reason why it's unique. No other game is like this, right? You either have the Street Fighter system where you have to press throw break the exact moment it comes out, or in Tekken it's kind of like, they're visually reactable. In Virtua Fighter, you don't do that, right? This creates this interesting situation where in Virtua Fighter, the PGB is super fucking strong because they track 360, throws track 360, and every character has a throw that will do like at least a third of your health, and the grapplers will often have a throw that will do 50%.
I have to ask this because I actually don't know. Are they high?
They are high, right? You see where I'm going?
They are high?
They are high. They are high. They are high, right? So the PGB is super fucking strong, right? Even stronger than in Tekken. However, they're also super fucking weak, right? Because you can guard break one of 3 directions while blocking. All throw breaks are minus on block. So if I successfully break, I'm plus. And they're strike vulnerable, meaning that if you go for there's no counter hitting throws. If you go for a throw, but I go for a strike, even if my strike is slower than yours, I'll go through it. So if I know you're about to go for a throw and I fucking do a fucking the down 4-2 equivalent, right? I'll just blow through it, right? So every time you go
so are they throw invincible?
Yes, all strikes are throw invincible.
Okay.
All strikes are throw invincible, right? So this is so the PGB option in Virtua Fighter, unlike any other game, is simultaneously super strong and super risky, right? That to me is what makes the Virtua Fighter PGB so interesting, right? And this one change, I think, more than anything, is the thing that like got me addicted to Virtua Fighter, right? Because when you get thrown for 50% of your health in Virtua Fighter, you believe it or not, you don't feel angry. And the reason you don't feel angry is because you know that if you had mashed, that wouldn't have happened. If you had, while you were blocking, because he could only have thrown you while you were blocking, really, right? If you had pressed guard break forward, that wouldn't have happened, right? So like there were multiple things you could have done. It's not just like in Tekken where it's like the only way you could have stopped this is to crouch, right? There are always multiple powerful ways to stop the PGB of that game, right? And this difference, more than anything, is what makes, even though Virtua Fighter is a very guess-heavy game, the tool of guessing, i.e. the PGB in Virtua Fighter, is like, it's incredible. It's one of the best pieces of video game design ever. Like, I'm not exaggerating that. Because think about the PGB in every other game. They're usually pretty binary. And that's why everyone always hates them, right? Because you, at the end of the day, you just get forced to hard guess. And it kind of sucks, but you need that. Whereas in this, you're still having to hard guess, but you're not guessing between 2 options. You're guessing between multiple. If you cannot throw me if I'm mashing. So in order for me to go for the PGB, I have to be certain that you are blocking. So I almost have to, if I'm playing a grappler, I almost have to condition you. I have to condition you to sit still. You know what I'm saying? I have to be throwing out counter hit buttons constantly, right? And only once I've conditioned you to sit still does my throw become viable. But even then, you're not safe because you can crouch, right? Or you could throw break the correct direction, right? So throws are simultaneously really powerful and really weak, right? And that mix of them being both strong and weak is just, it's like crack, bro.
It reminds me a little bit of, when the problem with Tekken 8, when FDX explained that so many situations where you think there's like a lot going on. Actually, if you break it down, it's a binary guess.
It's a binary guess.
And that used to be not the case when, like, he had these beautiful examples with like Jin, don't forward 144, and like that being like actually fuzzy guardable, but then it's like a timing mix. Like, oh, does he do an extension at all? Like, it's not immediate, it's not binary, it's not as dry, it's not as locked down as with Devil Jin, down forward 1-2 or down forward 1-4. And this, when I see what you have written down, it seems to me that this is like more of what Tekken like once was, a little bit more of like, I have a little bit more here going on. It is not just a binary thing.
Exactly. Tekken and Virtua Fighter both stumbled upon the same solution in different ways historically, right? Because all fighting games are going to force you to guess, but the guessing game in Tekken was. We talk about 3D, we often talk about it like in terms of actual Z-axis, Y-axis, X-axis. But the irony is that in Tekken, historically, the decision-making was also 3D, in the sense that there were 3 dimensions of the guess, right? It wasn't just mid-low, right? There was also timing, a timing element, right? And Virtua Fighter has that too. You're not just guessing mid-low when you're dealing with the primary PGB of Virtua Fighter, right? It's like, how do I put this? Let's say I'm put into, I should have thought of the example ahead of time, so forgive me if I fuck this up in my explanation. Let's say my opponent has put me in a situation where they're plus. Okay. I am torn between, I think they're going to do, I don't know if they're going to do a stationary mid, or a throw. So I decide, you know what? I'm going to sidestep and throw break forward. So if they go for a mid, I'll sidestep it. And if they go for a throw, as their forward throw, I'll break it. So I'm able to cover 2 options. But of course, I'm still weak to their back throw and their neutral throw, right? So I've not covered everything, but I've covered multiple things. Let's say instead, I know they're going to go for a throw, but I'm just not sure if it's going to be a forward throw, a back throw, or a neutral throw. And in that case, I'll just mash, right? Or I'll just crouch. Like, the point is, defending in this game is so much more interesting because there are more. I always have multiple options that will cover multiple things, and so it's more a case of what is the primary option I'm trying to avoid, and what is the secondary option I'm trying to avoid, right? And I can come up and I can do a defensive option that will beat those 2, but will lose something else. Whereas very often, so it's not binary. Get what I'm saying? It's not just a case of like stand block or crash block. It's typically a case of like, I will sidestep, throw break forward, or I will mash, which I'll lose the counter hit, but we'll beat this. So it's more the guessing game is more dynamic. And of course, also because combo damage and frankly, as you said earlier, and I agree, the amount of time it takes when you guess wrong is less bad. You feel more confident in guessing, frankly, because you know you're not about to lose 30 seconds of your life if you're wrong, right? And so both games demand you to make guesses, but the guesses are infinitely more interesting than Virtua Fighter, right? And so Tekken, again, going back to my island analogy, I was like, Tekken needs to either turn itself back into a game where you no longer have to guess all the time, or it needs to turn itself into a game where you do have to guess all the time, but you don't fucking die when you guess wrong. And like guessing wrong doesn't feel like cancer, right? And both are viable options, but they're going to fucking pick one. They're going to pick one. And I don't know what they're going to do, if either, right? Because let's say they decide, okay, we want to make the game where you don't have to guess all the time. Do you know how many fucking moves they have to remove? Like, that's going to be really hard if they pick that path. But let's say they pick the other path and they go, actually, we want to make a game where you have to guess all the time, but it doesn't feel like cancer when you guess wrong. Okay, but you still have to change so much. You probably have to change the way combo structure works. You have to reduce the damage on things. You know what I'm saying? Like, either path they choose is going to take a seismic amount of work. A seismic amount of work. And it will probably piss off a large percentage of the player base, whichever you pick. But they also can't stay where they are, because the one thing we all agree on is that it sucks where we are. So what are they going to do? Finn, what are they going to do? What are they going to do, Finn?
Yeah, I don't really know. I want to be really clear because I don't want to get like called out by some low IQ. When I say binary and shit, that I mean like Tekken as a whole is like I don't want Jason Montoya to suddenly rear its ugly head and say, oh, so binary. So you say it's a coin toss. So I want to make this one time really clear. I don't talk about the game as a whole. Especially not in a lot of neutral situations or poke situations. A lot. There are also some with Anna, for example, which I described. But I mean, a lot of situations that are sprinkled throughout the game that are really dangerous and lead to insane momentum. For example, it is a complete scandal, for example, that Reina, who is not considered a problem character, and even she has something completely fucking insane, like down to 1+2 in heat. That is something you cannot do anything about unless you are Leroy or Jin. You have a strong parry. It's a 15-frame elbow. After heat engage, even at +9, there is nothing you can do. You cannot step. You cannot crouch. And if that hits you and you're at the wall, you are dead. Yeah. Meaning it's a binary situation. It's way too dangerous to do anything about it. Yeah. Or something like Anna down back 2 hits into pleasure time 1 or 4. That is way too strong for a safe mid that tracks into one direction. If anyone tells me different, you are a fucking idiot who has no idea about fighting game design. I will say that as someone who is not a fighting game designer, but if you say that you are literally low IQ. I could go on with the situation, but I just want to make it really clear that no one misconstrues me on this and says, oh, there he said it. It's Tekken 8 is a binary guess. No, it's not. But I just want to make it really clear.
But even if you don't say binary, we can all agree it's more linear, right? Your options are far fewer and also far less interesting, right? This is the thing, right? If you're going to make it a guess-heavy game, make the guesses interesting and make the cost of guessing wrong not be so fucking high. The cost of guessing wrong is still as high as it was, or almost as high as it was in Tekken 7, despite the fact that your options to stop guessing wrong or to be put in those negative situations is far fewer. You got to pick a lane. Either make the cost of guessing wrong less expensive, right? Or make the ability to break my guard less powerful. One or the other, right? But I genuinely don't know what they're going to do. And I genuinely don't even know what they should do. And again, it's why, like, I hear all these conversations.
I know they shouldn't listen to Jason. That's what
I mean, no, they should listen to the OG American Koreans, obviously. Clearly. That's what we should listen to.
He only got trained by them. He got trained by them?
Oh, I gotta find out.
One thing, I have to
get it out your system, bro. Do it.
I don't want to derail this, but if you allow me half a minute. Just half a minute.
You got 5.
Where the point was where I was like, wow, he's literally brain dead, is when I asked him about the Asuka moves, right? And like where running 1+2 is like homing high, blah blah +11 on block in heat or with Naniva Gusto, right? And he's like, and he says, yeah, but do you know what's like +13? And then he says, like, he pauses and he says on block, and he says Horang while sitting free. Like, so obviously his head is like, I don't know what's going on, but then I asked him, I was like, okay, I don't know what he wanted to say on hit, right? So I was like, okay, I don't know where you're going with this because this is on hit, right? Like he came at me. This is where I started to know, okay, he's actually brain dead. Where I come at him with an 11 on +11 on block, homing high launcher in combination with a +2 on block mid launcher. This is the combination, and he, in response to me, as like, my bro, if you're gonna go for a whataboutism, go for a good whataboutism. Don't go for Horang while standing free. And then I ask him, would you remind me, Jason, what is Horang's while standing free? Your main character, what is that on block? Yeah, it's safe. It's not anymore. Since months, it isn't anymore. You fucking idiot. Sorry, this is all I want to say. This was the point where I was like, you. It doesn't matter.
No, I'm with you. But this is also part of the reason why, honestly, I've gotten tired of Tekken conversations in general. Because let's say he was knowledgeable. Clearly, he's not. But even if he was, far too much of the conversation is based on like this move, this move, this move, this move. Whereas I truly feel like the issue is just, it's way more fundamental than that, right? Because it's clear that the Tekken 7 developers had an idea of like what moves. Like I said, Leo to me is like the best example, not because he's the most interesting character, he's not, but just because that decision, most down forward 2s in Tekken, if they are punchable, they launch crouches, right? And if they're safe, they don't launch crouches. Leo was the only character at a down forward 2 that was both punishable and didn't launch crouches. And that was a smart decision. And
was he actually the only one? I think he was, right?
Yeah, was he the only one? Only one, right? And there was a reason for that, right? And the reason for that is because this motherfucker has a hell sweep, right? And they were so scared of lows. The entire game was balanced. The entire game was balanced around reducing the power of lows, the PGB in that system, because they wanted to be a defensive game, because they knew that was kind of the game that Tekken players had historically wanted, right, and enjoyed, and that's the kind of game that got Tekken players to put money in the arcades, right, over and over again, right. So they made the kind of game that the fan base wanted, right, and being able to use movement to neutralize the strength of the PGB, i.e. the low in Tekken, is key to Tekken, right, and this is such a move away from that it's this core philosophical issue. So getting caught up in this move, it's not the point, right? And it's why, I was fixing this game is going to take more than just a balance patch, moving a few frame numbers. It's no. They need to decide in their own heads, in their boardroom, in their design meetings. They have to decide what is and isn't acceptable. They have to decide core things about core mix-ups that they want to exist. And that's why, the title of this whole presentation is Make Mix-ups Great Again, because I think Virtua Fighter is an example of a mix-up heavy game where the mix-up is fun. The core mix-up, the PGB, is interesting, is fun. And so playing this game where you're forced to constantly interact with the PGB in that game is so much fun. But that game is essentially designed around its throws and its dick jab, right? Which is obviously a strike that beats throws and it goes under highs, right? It's designed around that whole system. Whereas Tekken has historically been designed around its jab and down forward ones, all right, and trying to counteract one another. And
I just
go on. Go.
I just realized that even though previously you 2 times mentioned season 3, I just had this epiphany that you said, let's write Tekken 9, because I was just about to say, I looked at the title for a moment because I was about to say, oh, he already thought, when I was like, oh, the chat already thought about it, obviously, because I was about to say that is more of a, I think at this point with what they did to the whole game and stances power crush, right? Where it's okay, give them the option to fucking power crush my mid check and I can't duck it's so stupid.
I don't know.
So
man.
when I saw all this, I was like, you're smart that you call this let's write Tekken 9 and not season 3 because it's not gonna happen.
But can it though? Can they do it? Right? Because no, you're right. I keep going back and forth. I'm like, can they? Yes. Will they? I don't know, Chief. I don't know. That's the thing. What do they want? This is the thing. And they've pissed in the punch bowl, because on some level I'm like, I want interviews with them. I want to know what's in their heart, Finn.
I also would like to know that.
I want them to talk and just talk to me okay, this is what we were aiming for this. But at the same time, every time they talk, we shut down their throat. so I understand them not talking.
I mean, also from a let's say from a capitalistic standpoint, right? If you put so much into the game of, let's just say stuff, for example, power crushes, 1 frame early activation, save on block if they absorb, reversal breaking if they absorb, you rework stances that there is basically a scenario on block where I can power crush, your mid check gets eaten, so you're actually in a mind game / mix up. I consider mind games I consider it a mind game if the frame advantage isn't as high enough to literally force something upon you.
Yeah, sure.
Even though you still kind of do. So mind game mix up, it's always a bit of a whatever. Yeah. But if you do so much to it, also from a just purely dry capitalistic standpoint, you're not taking the work you put in just out. Yes. You don't negate. You just because that took. Yeah. Yeah. No,
I'm with you, and that's why I said way back when. We need to go to the island. We can't go back.
Yeah, we
can't go back. We've come too far forward. It would be too horrible to the people who
and I'm fine with that. At this point, right, I want to also be very clear about this. For this entry of Tekken, I will always have my critique. I will flame the game like everyone else. Go to, open up any stream right now. Ask the person, what do you think about Tekken 8? Do it. Open 5 streams right now on Twitch. Ask the person how they feel about Tekken 8. Do it. Yeah. So we all do it. Duelist does it. Every one of us does it. I will continue to do it. But
what's the solution?
What's
the solution, right?
My heart kind of has found its peace, right? And I wait for my waifu, which is Miyari Zo, and then everything will be great. Yep. So, yeah.
I mean, we'll see, right? We'll see. But I've kind of I've skipped ahead of this because we've been talking about it for a while. But essentially, they got to decide what they want the game to feel like, right?
Go back to Virtua Fighter. I want to go back to this. You were not done with the Virtua Fighter stuff.
No, I really was, because I was like, I was saying that I think Virtua Fighter's PGB is the best because it is perfect at its job. It incentivizes mashing, right? Mashing is a good idea in Virtua Fighter. Like, just because my opponent is +5 does not mean that I should just sit there, right, and block, because he might throw me. And depending on the character, not even depending on the character, every character has a throw that does at least a third, right? And the grappler characters will have multiple throws to do a third, and like maybe one does half, right? So it's like, so mashing in that game, the PGBs do of Virtua Fighter does a good job of incentivizing mashing, but it doesn't force you to mash, right? This is the thing. It doesn't force you to mash, because if you want to be more conservative, you can just choose to like sidestep and guard break, which will get you past the immediate timing mid, right? The frame trapping mid, but also allow you to break 1/3 of possible throws. Does that make sense? So it's like, it's more, the Virtua Fighter PGB does its job in the best way. Whereas Tekken's PGB does its job, right? It forces you to interact, it forces you to go on the offensive and mash. It does, we can't say it fails at that. It succeeds, but it sucks, right? Being forced into that situation fucking sucks. And far too often I find, like, you know, I was listening to ATL Mike, and one of the things he said, and he wasn't technically wrong, which was like, well, you know, sometimes the counterplay is you gotta either jab or don't. I'm like, that sucks, bro. Like, but he's not wrong, right?
Mike,
sometimes that is the job.
Mike, he.
Say it.
I loved it. I loved that he couldn't bring himself to be dishonest. That is what I love about him.
Yes.
Even though he was there to basically kind of. Also, for the fun of it, like Steelman, like to try to like somehow Steelman something about Jason's position. That was what he wanted to do.
Yeah.
But even he could not bring himself when I asked him, like, do you like this? Do you think this is good?
Yeah.
Like, even he was like, well, you remember this, right? When he was like, I mean, nah, I don't.
No,
like,
Mike,
even he couldn't bring himself to say, I think this is sick.
The thing is, Mike for me is doing what I wish I could do, where he's basically gone, I don't like this, but it is what it is. I'm here now. I'm a second player.
It is what it is.
And I can get round to it. I want to do that, right? But I have found, in fact, I actually said this in season 1, and I've kind of gone on the bad side of this, where I've gone, look, the Tekken you want is gone, and so each of us have to decide, are we down with the new Tekken or are we not? And like complaining about it to some extent isn't really useful. I said that back then, and I truly do believe that, and that's why I stopped playing Tekken. But like, but I'm not a fan of that, right? But at the same time,
you know what? It pisses me off about. But you're not wrong. But what pisses me off is that the developers, instead of saying definitely no, this is the direction. Yeah. This is what who was it? Strivers or Guilty Gear players brought this example of like, hey, at least in Strive they said, guys, this is maybe a game that is not for you. We are gonna be honest about it. And I wish then the Tekken developers come out and say, guys, we have a captain at the ship. The ship is going to go this direction. If we reach the island or drown, the ship is going steady fast into that direction. I would be more, my soul would be more at ease.
Yes.
But with how the Tekken developers do it, with like, oh, yes, we acknowledge this. Remember Harada, right? He made a whole tweet saying season 2 was actually, he said the critique patch was, the critique was, what was it? He said the critique was not without merit, or like it was.
Oh yes, I know what you mean. Yes, we understand.
He said that.
Yeah, we understand.
So when Harada himself comes out and says, okay, yeah, season 2 basically we fucked up a little bit, and Murray says feedback, we need feedback. Put my emojis here, right? I'm getting mixed feelings here, guys, right? Like, do you want to change? Do you not want to change?
Yeah.
Do you want to only do you want to make me feel hurt, but don't really act? Like, I'm like, what? Either you. I don't know, change the captain or you go into the direction. I'm ready for it, right? I'm ready for it. But this constant, like, oh, we do something here, but not a lot. But like, it annoys me, right? You know what I mean? Like, it just annoys me.
I'm with you. It's very frustrating. And I think aggressive. Britbrov actually said it perfectly. It's like, at the start of the game, they said their main focus was aggression, and they succeeded at that, right? But like you said, since then they've gone back and forth.
Yeah.
Oh yes, you know, season 2 we're going to be the defensive patch. We recognize this, or but we're not going to go all the way. Blah, blah. Like, we don't. I remember I made a video that's aged super well before season 2 came out, and I said, like, season 2 is not going to be it, right? Go back and find that on YouTube and watch it now and see if I'm not fucking Nostradamus.
I remember that video.
Right? I'm fucking Nostradamus. So I said, look, season 2 is not going to be it because it's clear that what they want the game to be is a mash fest. That's what they want the game to be. And so season 2 is going to push us in that direction. And boy, was I right, right? And I was saying that the thing that needs to change is not a specific character, it is their fundamental desire. They need to change what they want the game to feel like, right?
It's also the main man's, the true fireman. It's
totally.
It's also a fitting analogy. What is going on? What fireman is at the fucking helm here?
And I'm hoping that one of them got shot. Like, not literally, of course, but metaphorically. Just they got,
Which
they
one?
got well, I'm hoping the Unga Bunga one got fired. And so
the one with the gasoline.
Yeah, the gasoline. I'm hoping that person got fired. And so that's why fucking what's his name? The new the new character that came out. The new character. Fuck around.
Wait,
that's why fuck around. No, fuck around. That's why fuck around came out and actually seems pretty well balanced. I'm like, that is like hopeful, right? But
I would be a little bit careful with this. It is to me fascinating because a character, Fakum Ram, is really strong. He's pretty obnoxious.
Yes.
And it is, but the reality is Tekken 8's power level is so high that as soon as a character comes out that is not fucking insane, people are like,
I said this. People described fuck as like shit. I have people in my chat being like, this character's weak. And I remember being like, oh, the main man said he's weak. I'm like, okay, I get that the main man said he's weak, and who am I to question his holiness? But like, I think we're being a little bit too quick to write off this character who has amazing range, and clearly, so, like, he's clearly not broken. Like, we can agree on that, but like, that's not the same as being weak. But obviously, in the height of season 2 shenaniganery, I can understand why people felt that way. But I was like, I 100% agree with you, Finn. Like, people were too quick to dismiss him as weak. Like, he's not weak. He's just not broken. Like that's not the same. That's not the same thing. Okay, it's not the same thing.
Yeah,
right.
But it's. I mean, maybe even in that case, even Mayman is kind of right. Where it's like, if you compare him to like the most, well, if you want to hate characters, right? The most broken tools in the game, the most cheap shit. Then you're like, kind of bad. But why would you play him, right? Like, why would you play him?
Yeah.
But he is not. He's by no means. He's still like. Look, everyone in this game has a poker deck that is basically all aces and kings, and he has like a few queens in there.
Yeah. No, I'm with you.
But still a queen.
Yeah, I'm with you. But again, a character like. But to be fair to him, if he is describing the character from the tournament scene, he's probably right. Because if you're at the highest level of play, I don't think you bring fuck around to that party. I think you don't, right? Because at the highest level of play, everyone is going to force everyone to guess, right? And so you're going to
you pick the best. You pick the best.
You pick that top bracket of characters who are able to force the opponent in horrible situations, even on block. And Falcon's not really up there. So in that category, in terms of who's meta at the highest level of play, they're right. He is trash. But most of us aren't there. So like
I will. I will never. I will always do this move, right? I will always say, although I saw Rangchu play him, I saw Book play him. So I'm just going to be the smart ass here in case it happens, because if it doesn't, it doesn't matter, right? But if it happens, right, I'm just going to say, but I would still not be surprised if he wins the next Master event.
If you see him show up, man, maybe. But that was another thing that I found very fascinating too. Like, people were willing to call the character trash after the character had been out for a day, because people have forgotten that for real Tekken characters, it usually takes a while to find out how good they are. Right?
You remember when Fuck came out in Tekken 7 and people for 2 weeks were like, and even Tai recently talked about it again. Remember when Fuck came out in Tekken 7? Everyone for 2 weeks was like, what a balanced character. after Leroy, he is so good. He is so balanced. He's almost weak. And then 2 weeks later, that motherfucker needs to be banned.
It takes a while, but people have forgotten that. People have forgotten that it takes a while for the best players in the world to find the cheapest angle on characters, right? Like, it takes a while. Yeah. Let's never forget, people were calling Brian weak at the start of this game. And people were calling the Bears. I remember when people were debating the Bears. People were like, oh, Bears are weak. Bears have always been weak. I'm like, this is Tekken 8, bro. This is Tekken 8 Bears.
And best example, I don't want to start with that guy, but Akuma is the best example.
Great example. This character's trash. It's like, oh, really? Okay, cool. All right. It takes a while.
Put him lower mid tier. Lower mid tier.
It takes a while. And people forgot that, right? And again, I understand, if this is your first Tekken game, then maybe I can understand you not realizing that. But like, if you play Tekken for a while, even if it's just one other game, you know that actually, no, there are characters who come out and their power is not obvious. And then that player, whoever they are, finds the way to play them. and then you try to find the way to counteract that style, and you realize there isn't one, and then all of a sudden you go, "Oh, that guy just godlike." But someone has to find it.
And also, a character doesn't need to win everything to be kind of fucked up.
Yeah,
like that is Yoshi. Remember Yoshi? Yoshi didn't dominate neither in season 1, neither in season 2. At no place did Yoshi dominate, but he was fucked up.
You still don't want to see them.
He was fucked up.
You still don't want to see them in your bracket tournament, 100%. So, we've gone over it, but Tekken is at a crossroads, right? And it was a crossroads at the end of season 1, and ironically, it's at a crossroads again. Only it's gone further now, and if they had decided to go back from, it would, in my opinion, it would have been too hard for them, even at the end of season 1, to go back to the original island, the Tekken 7 island.
Yeah, probably.
Right? And I felt that. And now, after season 2, it's even more expensive. So what the fuck are they going to do? Right? They either need to, but all the changes that they've made and that have been positively received have been sort of island or going backwards type changes. Maybe making things easy to sidestep, easy to dodge, right? So do they want to make this game a game where, the PGB, i.e. lows, and the mids that use to cover those lows, and the plus and block options to use to cover those lows, do they want to make a game where those are weak, i.e. Tekken 7? In which case, good luck, because there's a lot of moves you have to get rid of. Or do they want to be like, no, this is a guess-heavy game, but we're going to make it more fun to guess, and therefore, when you get launched, you're not going to lose 50% of your health, you're only going to lose 20%, and you get to play again, right? I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do. I mean, and it's going to be hard regardless, but they're going to be radical changes regardless of which path they take.
You still have, some things you have, they are game designers, and they can come up with a creative solution you don't expect, especially if they are willing to, if they are at all in any way willing to put even close to the same amount of resources they probably had for season 2, which that shit was. You can say a lot about that. The content gameplay was kind of detrimental, but the actual size of the update, we have never in the history of Tekken, even when you go to certain things of BR versions, that is bigger. Season 2 was bigger than that shit.
It really was.
So in terms of what they delivered, if they are willing to do that again in whatever capacity, I would rather see that they do something like this again in either direction than to now be at this stalemate.
I'm with you. We are all hoping for a Tekken 8.5. Like, we are all, or I guess at this point, Tekken 8.75, right? Like, we're all looking for like the next big leap. But like I said, the question is, what direction is that leap in? Because it can't be more of the same. It has to be a seismic shift. I'm talking, like I said, they need to go in. They either need to be like, we want to make sidestepping so much more powerful. We want to make backdashing really powerful. Someone's asking me, what does PGB, GBC mean? Oh my God. All right. For those of you who came late.
One thing, Chat. Can I just quickly, I have the Discord call open, but I just quickly am muted for like 2-3 minutes.
No worries.
But I'm hearing everything you say.
No, it's perfect time to do the explanation. Yeah. So if those of you came late, long story short, where's the PGB? In every game, you have a defensive, main defensive option, right? Stand blocking in Tekken, right? And crouch blocking in Street Fighter. The PGB is the option that beat that option, right? So in Street Fighter, throws are what you use to beat a blocking opponent, right? To stop them from blocking. The PGB in Street Fighter is the throw. In Tekken, the PGB is the low. The low is what you use to catch people who are stand blocking, right? Every fighting game needs a PGB option because that's what makes up the primary throw, the mix-up. So in Street Fighter, the primary mix-up is strike or throw, right? And in Tekken, the primary mix-up is mid versus low. There's also a secondary guard break option. So in Street Fighter, there's like the overhead, and in Tekken, it would be the throw. But that, almost by definition, is not as good as the primary one, right? So the reason why I came up with this annoying unk phrase is because the option is different in different games. So you need to know that. I'd rather have back fuzzy guard, KDB. But even fuzzy guarding is like, in Virtua Fighter, is inconsistent, and it only works within certain frame windows, right? So it's like, it's only when you are like -5 or -5 or below, right? So it is an option, but it's more useful to think about when you're -6 or not, you're still in that quote-unquote mix-up situation. But even when you're in that hard mix-up situation, you still have way more options in Virtua Fighter than you do in Tekken. And that's what I'm talking about, right? You want every game is going to have its mix-up state, right? You don't have a fighting game unless you do. And the point I'm trying to make is there are versions of that mix-up state that are more fun to deal with, and there are versions of it that are less fun to deal with. And Tekken has moved in a direction where it's way less fun, and I was highlighting Virtua Fighter's example of it, because I think the Virtua Fighter's example of it is really more dynamic. Because even when you're in your binary guess situation, it's not really binary, right? Because guard breaking is like, you can beat throws simply by mashing. And you can beat throws, even if you sidestep, you can sidestep and then throw like one of three directions, right? So there's the amount of options available to you are huge. Guard break cancel. Oh, sorry. GBC is like the cost of getting guard break cost, right? So in Tekken, when you get guard broken, you eat a combo. You eat like a 50% combo, and more importantly, you have to sit there for like half an hour watching this combo go on for ages. Whereas in other fighting games, if you get guard broken, you take some damage, but you get right back into the game, right? And so if you're going to have a game where when I get comboed, I have to sit there and watch an hour-long cutscene, okay, but then you better make it so that I can do a lot to stop myself getting launched, right? You better, because getting launched is such a horrible experience, right? But if you're going to make a game where actually I have to guess all the time, then you got to make it so that when I guess wrong, I don't want to fucking kill myself. You know what I mean? So if you're going to have a game with high power PGBs, then the GBC needs to be low. Right? Ideally needs to be low. Ideally. And vice versa. If you're going to have a game where actually the cost of getting guard breaking is you lose half your health, okay, but then you better make it so that I can defend myself really well. Right? What I want in Tekken is good defensive options outside of mashing and basic. Yeah, of course. But that's a version that they can do. That's what I want too. But like, they clearly don't want that. Since VF also has it, while Tekken lessened it. Yeah. And that's that's basically the key crux of my point, right? And when I post this on YouTube, the video is ultimately going to be called "Make Mix-ups Great Again," because the point I really want to make clear is that mix-ups can be fun. They can, but it depends on how you do it. What is your engine for mix-up? What is your PGB? And Tekken's PGB sucks because it's slows, and the way you can defend them is really too small. Please, none ask again. They won't ask again because I'm going to end the stream in a bit. Like I'm pretty much said everything I want to say. That's basically it. So,
what does your last slide say?
That was it. That's my last slide. That was it. That's my last point.
Did it say like can they save Tekken 8 or what was
it? No, that's what it is, right? Yeah, it's like it's can they change it? Like, well, yes, but they have to make a choice, right? They have to decide how they want it to be. Reduce the cost of getting guard broken. So then you can have your guess happy game, and I don't feel bad when I guess wrong, or keep the high cost, but then make it so that the ability to break my guard is actually way weaker, and I can mitigate it with movement. Right, both are valid, but you got to pick a lane. We're in the worst of both worlds right now. But yeah, if you guys have any questions or any thoughts, now's the fucking time.
I think also like the heat stuff is just honestly, I think that every single bit. Yeah, I think I'm gonna make that statement. I think everything about heat is literally dog shit. Literally everything. And I didn't get with Jason into that, right? But I have a take about every single heat mechanic that I fought through for a long time. And I think right now I dislike everything about it, and I think it's worse than how it was before.
Yeah.
Like one example, I just will name one that is significant, and sometimes people. I also didn't. I wasn't aware of the significance until I actually thought about it, and also went back to Tekken 7, which is that almost every single, and I think borderline every single heat engage was in Tekken 7 a knockdown. It was a knockdown or a wall bounce. So it means, for example, Feng's shoulder, Feng back Kempo 2, Feng Wrestling 1-3 he didn't have, but like forward 4-2, all of those. Brian as well. And that leads to, in the open, that is the most significant part, obviously, because at the wall, they would also wall split in Tekken 7 or bounce. But in the open, and this is so significant, it is not a knockdown. And the difference is, let's take a basic example. Let's say Kazuya knocks you down. If Kazuya knocks it, he didn't have forward 4-2, so it's obviously a bit bastardized. But if he had that shit in Tekken 7, that would be a knockdown. If he had that move. And if I'm on the ground, I can decide, which is one of the one of the most significant aspects about Tekken. What makes Tekken is the mental, almost insanely vast ground game.
Yes.
That is also in Street Fighter. You can stand up in 2 different ways, and they don't even influence the frames. Only the distance gets influenced. In Tekken, I can decide to even not get up. I can roll on the ground. I can wake up, kick, and multi. They even once so hard pushed this or had love for this that they gave characters unique get-up options.
Yeah.
And so the ground game is very interesting, and I can decide to stay on the ground. Meaning, Kazuya's Hell Sweep, I don't need to stand up into that. Yes, he has like steel pedal and shit like this, but also with other characters, I don't need to get up. I have to make it really short because otherwise we talk about too much. I talk about too many instances. But the most important thing is in Tekken 8, if a heat engager lands, I am -9, which don't let anyone fool you guys. -17 has mind-fucked us into believing -9 is actually sick, which it isn't.
It is not.
And now also I have to annihilate Jason Montoya because I didn't even get to that, because he called heat engagers basically just, they are fancy pokes because you are just 1 frame more plus than a jab. So he obviously is an idiot when he says this. Because he forgets to mention that shit is put onto like full screen mids. That if once you are in heat, that was what he called a fancy poke now is now a really fancy poke, because that is now a launching poke that is +5 on block. So if that idiot, he has literally said that. He said these are fancy pokes. Like to say that to like a full screen mid that is a +5 on block launcher in heat, to call it a fancy poke is, yeah, you are mentally ill. But point is, if a heat engager lands, you are point blank to your opponent, and you're taking the mix in most cases, because you're literally going in with 7-2 if you press most of the time. Most of the time. So you are most of the time holding this shit, and you are in a scenario where not only do you now take, I am not highlighting Kazuya here because he's a bastard. I'm just to give an example.
We hate Kazuya in this chat. Just go.
You are eating, not only do you eat a Hell Sweep, no. You eat the enhanced devil version of the Hell Sweep. That is what he's threatening you with. Yep. The enhanced devil version. Which means now, because of heat,
and God forbid in a lot of stages, you are on a floor break stage. God forbid.
And now on quite some stages, that is now not a knockdown Hell Sweep. Like it usually was. That is a launcher. And if he wants to, he threatens that with, for example, a forward 2, which is a +5 on block launcher, or a down back 13 frame down back 1 +2, which is a 13 frame confirmable or heat dash confirmable wall splat. So that is the thing here, which some people. The significance of this shit cannot be underestimated, that this shit is a standing position and not a knockdown, because I have no option to mitigate risk reward, or way less, way more restricted. I am standing. And this is so significant.
But it's intentional, right? It's intentional because
of course. It is so hard. It is one of the most intentional things, because that way so many times you initiate the snowball from that, from a heat engage. Boop, you recover even health. You are +9. You are in your most threatening form, and it cannot be underestimated how significant it is that this doesn't knock down anymore, but it is full front -9. And previously, I could just mitigate risk reward. It would also, this is also what they wanted, right? They were really loud about this. The game has to be faster. We want more interactions. So what do you not want? Well, now you're biting basically in your own tail, because what you had, the quality you had, was this incredibly vast Oki game, right? The ground game in Tekken is like mentally ill. This is how many options you have.
Yes.
And they actively, because they basically hit, as we say in Germany, like 2 flies with 1 clap, basically. Because they not only simplified it, because now you don't need to engage with this knockdown anymore, they also force the interaction way more because it's standing.
Yeah. No, I'm with you.
And it's more explosive. That's just one thing I want to highlight about the heat package. And heat burst needs to be deleted. But
you're super right. You're super right. And I keep going back and forth on heat because I'm like, similar to what I said with like, we've come too far. You can't get rid of it. Like, you actually can't get rid of it. So what do we do with it?
Yeah,
right?
I know. I just want to,
no, but I know. But nothing you said is wrong. I agree with everything. I'm trying to work out, okay, so how do we fix it? Because you're not getting rid of it, right? You got to do something with it. And again, like for me, which is why I was like, let's get rid of fucking bound. Let's get rid of corkscrew. So you have to use heat to continue your combos. Right?
That is a good. That is honest. I would like to play that. I don't know. I would like to play that immediately. I would like to play that
because then it's like, okay, you can use it. You can
or test it.
You can use it as a defensive get me off me option. That would be cool. And then you get like one bite of the cherry, like basically heat drive, like you did back in the day. Oh, sorry, rage drive. Like, there's one free option. Maybe don't get a mix afterwards, or maybe make it so that it can wall splat, but there's no mix afterwards, or you get a mix afterwards but it doesn't wall splat. None of them should do both. Like none of them should do both. And that's just my, because I'm like, it's, but again, we're in subjective territory. Who knows? Because I've heard people being like, none of them should wall splat, and I'm like, I remember this was actually one of Buff Guy's claims, and I see where he's coming from because he was like he hated the ones that wall splat, none of them wall splat. But as someone who's playing Leo and who had a wall splat, I'm like, well, I think the low ones are worse, right? Because he plays Cassia, right? And like, but it's subjective. But I think one thing we could agree on is like maybe they should have one bullshit feature, like I don't know, like maybe just one, like maybe not all of them. I don't know because for me a wall splatting, maybe they shouldn't high crush. Looking at you, Anna. Like, you know what I mean? Like, maybe they should have one bullshit feature. Like, maybe not all.
I mean,
four.
look, if it's you can always tell that they are sitting there. You can always tell that the developers are sitting there and they are at odds with the announced and written in stone philosophy. Sure. Because it's like you make a 30-frame heat smash. Why is that shit? For example, let's just say we are the designers, right? Why is that not -9? Why is that -5? So I can still like threaten power crushes and shit, and still have actually options.
I want to correct something. Britbro says that Leo has a low heat, but not true. You don't need heat anymore. You can just do it with the install. Lol. Anyway, continue.
Yeah, sure. It's
it's worse now. you can spam it now. Honest character, bro. Honest character.
You know, and then I have the God. It's so much because you are like at heat, you are like at movement, you are like at power crushes. What power crushes did to like stances, bro. Ling, back turn power crush. Come on. It's like it's so much stuff that I like. It's not. It doesn't make the game like, oh, it is an unplayable garbage game. No, but
the game produces. I'm so glad. Actually, I love this train of thought. I already know where you're going with this. You're right. It doesn't make the game hard unplayable. You know what I realized the last time I played it? Because I literally played it. Again, I gave Season 2 an honest chance. Season 2 came out, it was trash. I stopped playing. I came back a few months ago, and I was like, okay, let me give it an honest shake, trying to get Xiaoyu to Tekken God. It was a nightmare. I got her up there, and I'm like, I don't want to play this game ever again, right? And like, but I remember I came away thinking that this game produces frustration. No, it produces misery. What I mean is the game is really good. You're constantly forced to make a miserable choice, right? Constantly. You're constantly put in situations where it's like, choose your poison.
Like on defense.
On defense, right? You're constantly, and this game produces misery. It's so good. The thing that this game was more than anything is it's a miserable choices. And the only way to avoid having to make a miserable choice is to make your opponent have to make the miserable choice, right? So someone in this equation is going to have misery, right? And it's like Tekken ball mode, right? We are passing the ball. One of us, and the best characters are the characters who are able to force their opponent to make miserable choices the fastest, the furthest, from longest range, and more consistently, right? And it's like, it sucks, bro. Like, you're constantly having to make miserable choices. And when we were watching the finals, the GWC finals, I remember just watching it and being like, what do you do here? Like, I have nothing but respect for these two players, but like, what do you do here? This is a miserable choice you have to make now. And you got like a million on the line, $1 million on the line. What do you do here? And then like you fast forward, okay, cool, another one. What do you do here? And then you fast forward, okay, another one. What do you do here? What do you do here? Like, players are just forcing each other to make miserable fucking choices. It's just the worst. It's just the worst. Why am I doing this?
Also, like an ultimate truth is with every single game, even like single player games, if you like speed run them, and every competitive game, I am not mad at anyone who wholeheartedly says he likes the game. In fact, I envy you. And especially like if you are like a casual, because once again, I have done that experiment in season 1. In season 1, I have done the experiment. I've asked pros, literally like Zephy Black and shit, right? And casuals, like literally someone who's like who was just a Fujin or whatever, right? I have done my rounds. It is just a statistical fact. The more time you invest into something, the more you are aware of the shortcomings.
Yeah, no, I've said this.
So
like, yeah, of course. Because
I'm not mad at anyone who says, "Bro, I'm a casual. I'm happy with that. I enjoy the game. Or if you are a pro and say I'm happy, even though that is very rare.
Yeah, very rare.
There's a reason why it's very rare.
No, because
right?
but you want to know why? Again, I noticed this as I was kind of playing up through the ranks. Right? It's because the higher up you go into the ranks or skill distribution, right, the more optimal people are playing their characters, and the more frequently you are forced into that miserable situation. Right?
Exactly.
That's the thing.
That is what I'm saying. Like the more you play this game, the more you will play against people who do the good shit with their character.
Over and over again. Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. So like the misery multiplies the higher skilled your opponents are. And it's just like this sucks. And so it's like, so there you are, or there I am, playing Xiaoyu, God Second King, Tekken God, and I'm like, do you want to keep going? No! It's only gonna get worse. I'm gonna make my opponents miserable. They're gonna make me miserable. This sucks. I'm bowing out now. Because it doesn't get better. It doesn't get better. Like it's just going to be miserable. Again, Mike has the secret source of the game. So
look, I am very. I will come back to Mike. I think he even has written me on Discord. But I was extremely sure what he was talking about, and that is not my problem with Tekken 8.
Yeah,
like what he talks about and what he has to offer, which I'm very sure I know what it is. I know what the concepts are. That is not my problem with the game. That is not my problem. My problem is that I'm sitting there. And like let me make it really simple. Every time I block a heat smash, I'm pissed. Every time I block a Asuka Miare 1+2, I'm pissed. All right, that's not going to change. And it's not that Tekken 7 was always fun. Of course, fucking not. But here in this game, I'm like, yeah, okay, nice. And what shall I do against this? Well, basically, like Chet says, I have to suffocate the opponent first. I don't deal that often with the miserable decision where there is not really a good one, and I can force that decision more on my opponent. And that is the optimal play.
Yeah,
that is the optimal play.
Yeah, because you cannot defend. And I said this back in season 1. I'm like, the meta of this game is always going to be who has the most irresistible offense, because you can't rely on your defense. So I need to force my opponent to have to defend and make tough choices. Because if I don't make my opponent have to defend and make tough choices, they're going to make me defend and tough choices, and I will lose. I'm like, that sucks, bro. That like the idea that the game has become suffocate or be suffocated sucks. I'm not a fan of that. So it's like, oh, it's your fault. Just play more suffocatingly. Just play more offensive. Just get in his ass. I'm like, but I don't want to do that. If I wanted that, I'd play Guilty. I'd play an anime game. Yeah. Like I come second precisely because I don't want that.
And one thing I wanna really hammer home, because I'm not forgetting about this shit. Back when Ni had this good run at Evo Japan, I think it was Evo Japan, and people are like, oh, the defense is back, right? The king of defense. I was like, guys, I said to people back then, did you also watch Combo Breaker, where Atif ran over that very Ni on that very Brian with Anna? Yeah. He ran over this motherfucker. It wasn't even fucking close. And then we get Evo, Anna. Yeah. And and the other games, honestly, there were good games, not gonna lie.
No, of course. But yes.
It's like everyone who is saying that offense is not the way.
The closer you get to grand finals,
I'm not saying before fucking Jason Montoya again comes with his strawman bullshit. Jason fucking goddamn dogshit Montoya. I didn't say defense is dead, right? Like you like to debate your fucking strawmans. I'm saying it isn't the optimal way to play, all right? And that's fine. That is okay. I'm just saying personally, and like a lot of other people, every time I block some shit like a fucking homing I'm getting angry, okay?
Yeah.
I'm like, this is bad. I don't like it.
And I was saying this before, again, back in season 1, I was saying this. I was like, right now, it's Dragunov. This was back in season 1. But I'm like, but it doesn't matter if they nerf Dragunov, because it'll be someone else next time. It'll be someone else. This is before Anna, right? And so let's say they nerf Anna, okay, but it'll be someone else. Because this is why I'm like, it's not about individual characters or individual moves. The core design, it's PGB level, right? It's straight up lows across the board, right? And the coverage of lows, right? It's a philosophically deep thing. Because even if they nerf Anna to the ground, which they might,
and not only that, but also that your mids are way more also like the lows and the mids.
Yes.
Like we have the best lows in the game since I don't like the lows are so strong in this game. Yeah. And then in Heat you're dealing with +5. The mids are already outrageous.
Yes.
And you're also dealing with in Heat bro, Anna's 3+4 is a 14 frame ass that is a launcher. That is -16 goes to +5. That is an unparryable launcher you're dealing with.
Yeah. It's
that is she's not the only one.
No. And there'll be someone else. This is the thing. Yeah. Even if we nerf all of these moves, there will be someone else, right? The conveyor belt will move, which is why I get so annoyed when the conversation is just about this character or this. Like, no.
Yeah, there will always be someone else. So you're kind of right. There will always be always be someone else. But in this case, yeah, it is a bit of a system issue. And honestly, as well, in season 1, most people I asked this question. I asked Jorets, you know the show you play, Jorets?
Yes.
I asked him. Most people answered this the same. I asked him, do you think it's a system issue or a character issue? In season 1.
Yes.
In season 1.
Yes.
And he said a system issue.
It's system thing. And I wish more people realize that, which is why I get so annoyed when people start attacking people for the character they play. This is bullshit. Here's bullshit.
Yeah.
There's bullshit. Here's bullshit. Here's bullshit. Here's bullshit. But it's not the character. Like, it's system D, right? Because even if they nerf the character you hate, make no mistake, you hate everyone else. Because it's system wide, right?
And everyone knows it as well.
In their hearts, they know. In their hearts, they know, exactly.
In their hearts, they know. You remember how many times people iterated this, like, I hate playing against basically every character, including my own?
Yep.
Yeah,
now,
there you have it.
And it's why I hate, obviously I banter and I go, oh, fucking Kazuya with this, but every character sucks. Like, every character sucks, including my own, right? I think really the bastardization of Leo is probably really what put the nail in the coffin for me with Tekken 8, if I'll be honest. Because, like, despite the fact I've been playing a bunch of other characters, in my heart I am a Leo player. That's the character I kind of play Tekken with, and I know I even kind of get off on the way that everyone shits on the character. Like, it's fun to play the unpopular character, right? And you know, us Leo players, you know, all 7 of us, like we're a community, and then watching them truly turn my character into a way that they are. I mean, people have always called Leo dumb, but that's fine. They don't know the character. But like, as someone who knows the character and now knows how dumb the character truly is, I'm like, this is unforgivable. Like, this is crazy. And like, it's reached a point now where even if I win the character, I don't feel good. Because in my heart of hearts, I know this character's bullshit. Like, and that sucks. And I'm sure this has happened to a lot of players. I'm sure a lot of Dragunov players who have loved Dragunov since forever and like watched their character get dragged to the mud. I'm sure there's probably law players or whoever. Oh, Anna players are probably going through it. They're probably people who've been playing Anna since forever. And like, Anna finally came out. They were super excited. And now Anna's being treated like Leroy, right? And it's like, it sucks. It hurts everyone involved. And I hope against hope that Armor King doesn't come out and is a nightmare. I can see it going either way from what we saw in the trailer. And yeah, it sucks. Hi, I'm a Leo main. Whatever, Evan Girl. Whatever. Enjoying our busted ass character.
Let me do one final statement. Because I also need to go to bed.
Yeah.
One final statement, and yeah, this is also like a kind of a side jab to Jason Dogshit Montoya.
That's it.
The fraud Montoya is that when he uses the words, people are, and I know it seems also to other to other fighting game communities like this. Sajam isn't wrong when he says most Tekken players are always bitching and always complaining. It's kind of true. But it comes from a place, when Jason says like people are overly negative, kind of like on purpose and misleading. He cannot be as stupid that he really thinks that people are on purpose just because they want to, that disappointed and angry, or were that disappointed, angry, and still like the glimmers are basically lingering. That is not because they want it. That is not because they just want to be.
No, but
so yeah, this comes from not from a place of hate towards the game. I still play it. But I know how good it can be. I am convinced. And what am I supposed to do when I am personally convinced that the game could be fucking way better and fantastic for me? Yeah. What like am I supposed to say but sales go over my personal taste for the game? No, of course not. I'm going to say my opinion, and the developers even gave me fucking green light to do it. Michael Murray put his dog shit googly eye emojis under the post of Go saying we need feedback. Yeah, and you will not go a month without getting my feedback. Very clear, Namco Bandai.
I wouldn't be doing this. I wouldn't make fucking PowerPoint slide presentations and talk about the game in this depth if I didn't love Tekken. And and the thing is, there is nothing on the video game space like good Tekken. There's nothing like it. And the reason why so many people are tolerating Tekken 8 is because it's the closest thing we have to good Tekken.
Exactly.
And it's still off it, but it's the closest thing we have, right? And like I said, I've played other fighting games and I'm like, this game is superior in this way, this game is superior in this way, but it's not Tekken. And look, don't get me wrong, if there was another fighting game on the franchise that hit the nail on the head the way Tekken did, I would have left Tekken ages ago. But there ain't. We gotta save Tekken because there's nothing else. There's nothing else. And so it's no.
In fact, this Tekken is so good that, and I've done the rounds. Right? I've went back to Tekken 2, Tekken 6, Tekken 7, and I want to say this. Even though all of these games have big problems, right? Tekken 6 has the rage in Tekken 6 is absurd. Certain high tiers in Tekken 6 or S tiers are absurd, clearly, where you have still clear. Well,
Bob's the best.
That doesn't matter. My point is this shit. Even Tekken 8 is still so good that if Tekken 8 was the first Tekken game ever conceived and we had no history, this would be probably the best fighting game. People wouldn't believe it. But it comes from
stop. Hey, that's it. That's an interesting claim. You might be right. I don't think you are. I think if you had no history or concept of no history of Tekken, no preconceived. If it was the very first one, I'm convinced with all features it has, because we still cannot forget the objectively good things, right? We have a full body customization system. We have really fucking good graphics. We have a decent practice mode, even though not perfect. We have shit. If this was the first entry ever in Tekken, and this game comes out with 32 characters, people would say, "Oh my god, my brother." I can't know if you're right or wrong, right? I'm guessing I'm going on feeling here. I genuinely believe this game is running on its nostalgia of its superior days. And if this was the first game,
I don't know, bro.
This game would have flopped, bro. This game would have sold King of Fighters numbers. I'm telling you.
Don't all the loyals, But what I find very suspicious about this, all the people like that tell me they quit the game 2 months after release. Well, the numbers are still at 5,000 plus 5,000 average. Who are these players then?
Okay, here's what you mean, Tekken 8?
Yeah, it's funny because we both said...
I agree with you. Tekken 8 players, majority of Tekken 8 players are people who jumped on the Tekken train when it was good. And it's like Yu-Gi-Oh! The people playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Today are the people who jumped in when it was good. You ain't getting new Yu-Gi-Oh! Players, son. You get the occasional one. I get that, right? But even the people who are new in Tekken 8 are people who kind of played casually back in the day but only took it seriously in Tekken 8, right? There are very, very, very few people in Tekken 8 where this is truly their first Tekken. So you're saying
most people who tell, but most people like that who jumped on in Tekken 7 or something, right? Or in even before that. I met so many of those that say they don't play they deinstalled the game 2 months after release or something. But I kind of get the feeling, Chad, they're not really honest about it. I think they are still playing.
Listen, no, I get that. I'm saying if we look at the 5,000 or so, however many people it is, I mean, it's larger if you look at the console, but if you look at the number of people who are actively playing, and we go, okay, what percentage of that player base, right, the hardcore committed player base, are first-time Tekken players who have true, and when I say first-time Tekken players, I don't mean it's like they're I mean, it's the first time they've taken... For example, Tekken 7 was the first Tekken game I took seriously. But I played Tekken 3. Do you know what I mean? I played Tekken 2, right? So do I... In this thought experiment, do I count as a first time Tekken player back in Tekken 7. We have to define our terms, right? Because I don't know. Because even my love of Tekken 7, I jumped on Tekken 7 because I had fond memories of Tekken 3. And, in college, I played a little bit of Tekken 6 with our buddies, button bashing. So I was like, oh, the new Tekken thing's out. And Akuma's in it, right? So I genuinely think if Tekken is a new franchise, we've never heard of Mishima, we've never heard of anything, and they put this game out, this game dies, bro. Like, first of all, Tekken 7 doesn't do as well as it does, right? If that was the first ever Tekken game, I think it sells half. I think Tekken 7, if that was the first time, it would have sold half. And I think Tekken 8 would have just died. I truly believe this, bro.
I mean, maybe that's like a mad hot take.
We're eating off 3, bro. The Tekken is eating off 3 and has been for how many years? Tekken is eating off the success of 3. I truly believe that. Truly.
Yeah, I mean, although I think Tekken 5 was also mad, like a mad seller, but it also came out on like PSP, PlayStation 2, and PS3, everything.
Look, I truly, again, this goes back to, we can never know. So this is an interesting conversation because you might be right, and if you are right, that would be fascinating. But I truly believe that Tekken is fueled by past love and enthusiasm. Because even me jumping onto 7 was fused a lot by Eris.
Maybe I need to recant that statement.
No, but maybe you're right. We don't know, but I think we need to consider it. Because
I would like to know. I would actually like to know how many people are actually. We will not get this number, but I would like to actually know how many of the whole player base. How many are actually like new players? Because I get those comments right under my videos, like with the Reina stuff, because you know how popular Reina is with newcomers, right? Sure. I got many comments under there saying, "I'm a new Tekken 8 player. Like I have never played Tekken before. This shit is good."
Yeah, no, I'm with you. But I think that's a self-selecting thing because they're watching a Tekken video, right? Like,
all kind of true.
And again, doesn't make it invalid, but I genuinely wonder what the percentage is. And I'm sure there's. I don't care. I don't care enough to run the test, but the test would be like, okay, of the people who play this, like you do a survey, right? How many of you are still playing this game 8 hours a week? And of that percentage, how many of them this is their first Tekken game? I reckon it's probably pretty small. I would say because I think it's it's good because even now I'm like, bro. I think about myself, right? And I'm like, so much of the only reason I'm tolerating this game is because I did a lot of my learning back in Tekken 7, right? If I had to learn the Hurang matchup from scratch in this game alone, I'd die, bro. I'd die. But I struggle with that Hurang matchup now. And I learned it in 7. I learned most of it in 7. So I'm just struggling with the new shit. If I had none of that, man, fuck that. Learning to deal with this, bro. I couldn't, bro. You have
no concept, right? Like if you start now, you have
to learn everything, bro. Everything. I feel. If you're in the chat right now and you are someone who truly, this is your first Tekken game, this is the first Tekken game what you've learned frame data, I have nothing but respect for you. I have nothing but respect for you because it was hard. If let's say you're Tekken King, okay, and it's your first Tekken game, it is way harder for you to reach Tekken King in this game than it would have been for me, I think, depending on your character, of course, to reach the equivalent level in Tekken 7. I truly feel that way. Fuck this game. And I know there are more learning resources in this game, clearly more learning resources in this game. You have PDX videos out the wazoo. So there's lots of resources. But like,
I mean, when I started the game seriously, then I treated it, when I started treating it more seriously, there was no frame data display in game.
That's what I'm saying. We played Tekken 7 when there was no frame data, and I still think it was easier. I still think because whatever. We all went to RB Norway. Wasn't that hard?
But I don't know. On the other hand, now the new stuff, you just know that I landed my mid heat smash. Did I hit? Okay, I won. Did it go on block? Okay, I get a mix up. Okay, do I land any heat dash? I'm +5. Like, you can clearly see that they had this in mind of like, God, it's also, I don't know who said this. We can also go into, it's always taken always so long about Tekken, but this fucking bloat discussion where it's like they were clearly aware they are pumping this game up again. They are again pumping. And to circumvent that, the issues with it, they go the lazy route of making everything +5 that is heat dashed. That's clearly intentional to combat the bloat.
Yeah, but I think, it's dumb. It's dumb. Yeah. They need to have the confidence to just strip moves away. In fact, what the franchise needs, and again, I say this, but like I already have countless reasons why they can't do this. What they need is they do Tekken 3. Where they need to cut the cast down. It's almost like they need a reboot, and they need to be willing to cut a bunch of moves out. But like the last time they did that was like Tekken 4, and it died. And when Street Fighter did that for Street Fighter 3, it died. And when Virtua Fighter did, when Soul Calibur did that, it died. Right? When you try and do a next generation. So like, there's plenty of reasons why they shouldn't do that. But at the same time, the blow is too much to ignore. And to be fair, the blow has been too much to ignore for the longest time. But it was held together by its movement system. So you could at least move around much of it. But now that that's gone and you have to interact with each element of each string, fuck that, this game's done. And to go back to what Back One Bobby is saying, listen, reaching Tekken King now is easier than it was back then. You're misunderstanding, right? For me, I'm talking about Tekken King now is like Fujin in Tekken 7, right? I think.
Wait, who said what?
There was I said something about like I shout out to people who reached Tekken King in this game, and they were like, "Oh, Tekken 7, Tekken King took way more skill." I'm like, yes, but the equivalent of Tekken King in Tekken 7 wasn't Tekken King. It was like maybe the Fujin rank, right? My point is, reaching that level, I think, is way more frustrating in this game than it was back then. Like, I truly believe that, because what you're dealing with, it's just like it's complete horseshit. It's complete horseshit. Like in Tekken 7. When I lost to Law, I'd be like, man, that sucked. But then you would go into the lab and you'd find out what you needed to do. And like, it would be so rewarding that you could just like, eliminate let me put it this way. It was easier to defeat brain dead Laws in Tekken 7 than it is to defeat brain dead Laws in Tekken 8. Because brain dead Laws have real power behind them. It was easier to beat brain dead Hurangs in Tekken 7 than it is to beat brain dead Hurangs in Tekken 8. Because brain dead Hurangs in Tekken 8 have real power behind them. That's what I mean.
That is true. No one can deny this, by the way. That is a fact. And Joe Budden, funny enough, I talked with Joe Budden, and he had Joe Budden had a very, 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 I think, true take on this. Joe Budden is very based, I think is the word in English you use, based, because he says over himself, like, the way I play, look what I do to these players, I shouldn't be able to do that. Like, he's very honest about it, at least from his personal perspective. And he said in Tekken 7 you had to learn to attack, and in Tekken 8
you have to learn to defend.
You try desperately to learn how to defend.
Yeah, it's true.
But I would still say
finish your thought. No, go on. I don't want to interrupt. Go on.
I just want to say I still think that the most significant factor, what determines like how high you are in your skill level, is still defense and knowledge. The best you can do, because you need to know what am I working, like, what is my guess here even. If you don't know, you will get blown the fuck. You will get blown up so like way harder than Tekken.
Yes, you have to play. Yes, you have to learn defense. Still, even more so. I agree with you. But here's the thing, right? Because I would add a bit of nuance to what Budden was saying.
Yeah.
Because in Tekken 7, everyone mashed at first. Every player, when you play Tekken at first, you're a masher. I don't care who you are. We all mash, right? That's the nature of fighting games, right? But then what happens is you reach this level where, because the opponent knows how to deal with the strong, gimmicky stuff of your character, they wouldn't just defend against it, they'll kill you for it. They'll duck the high, right? And launch you for max hit damage. They'll sidestep this, what you thought was a mix-up string, and they'll kill you for it, right? They'll destroy you. In this game, very often, so there's an arc where I can mash and it works, and then my mashing will get me killed, and then I have to learn to attack properly, like Budden said. There's a point where you reach where I now have to learn to attack properly. Now, though, bro, brain dead Hurangs are a threat to you, no matter how good you get. Because even if you learn to defend against it, you only have to be wrong once, right? And their options are such where it's like, even if you do the right defensive option now is like maybe a surgical dick jab to return to neutral. Whereas before, the correct option was, I duck the thing and I launch you died, right? But now, all those low high strings now have a mid to cover it, right? So you can no longer reflexively just duck. Because if you duck, you get launched by the mid, right? So it's hard. I think it's harder now. There have always been brain dead characters, but those brain dead characters, once you learn the matchup, you could kill them for being brain dead. Now, they get to be brain dead to Tekken God, to GOD. They get to be brain dead all the way up.
Yeah, I have one design choice when that is one that I realized that so late. Sorry, I switched to my iPad.
No worries,
but I realized that so late. I like 3 months in the game or something. I wonder if you know about that. When I realized why that is, because there's only one answer, I was disgusted. I was literally like, this is a scrub game. Like, this is literally a scrubby game. Which is that when you are in heat, and let's say you get a pretty punishable. Like you get your low punishable, your launch punishable low mix-up blocked.
Sure.
If you get launched now, everything except the initial launch hit is completely recoverable.
Yes.
Did you know that?
Yes.
Because
no, you told me.
If you're not into heat, it's like 50% of the whole combo is recoverable, but not 90+%.
Yeah.
And when I realized that the game tells you to go ham, they want you to go monkey because they protect you when you are in heat and you're supposed to go monkey. They even protect you with one very, like, they have thought about this really deeply to implement this layer, this mechanic of, hey, if the monkey player who is supposed to press, who is supposed to now snowball you, if he gets blocked in his endeavor to do the thing, we want to protect him additionally.
Yeah, it's crazy.
When I realized, when I saw that, I was like,
it's so crazy. And again, playing Virtua Fighter was like the best thing because it really opened my eyes to video game design, because it's a 3D game and in some ways inspired Tekken, and they went off in separate directions. And you can see where the timeline split, right? You play those two games, right? And like in Virtua Fighter, mids are expensive. Like mids are expensive. There are no plus and block mids. That's a lie. There are plus and block mids, but they're very rare, right? And they'll be very slow and very situational, or they'll have such pushback where the number of options I can enforce my friends with.
Sounds like Tekken before Tekken 8.
Literally. But again, this is what I'm talking about when it's a philosophical thing. The designers of Virtua Fighter clearly thought, well, mids are a premium, therefore they shouldn't be free, right? And Tekken probably thought that too, but they've moved away from that. And the number of plus on block, super safe, high reward mids are crazy. And it's like, again, are they going to change that? Should they change that? Like, you know what I mean? These are so every move has to be reconsidered. Every move has to be reconsidered. Every single move. Which is why I'm like, you know what? Take your time. Take your fucking time. Yep. Take your time, because you're going to need it, bro. You're gonna need it.
I wouldn't have guessed that this comes ever out of my mouth, right? But the more I think about this and the more I talk with you about it, I have to even tell Michael Murray, I know what, like, it comes back to this thing, what he said about, we had a whole team work on a joint vision for this game.
Mm-hmm.
We basically have we did no development. We have no plans. We have no structures to go into the other direction.
Yeah, there's nothing there.
So, and I don't know how it is to lead a project like this, to say, okay, we have to do something. We need to stick with a plan. We need to have a captain. And there was no drafts have been made to make it not offensive.
They thought they were done. They thought mission complete, mission accomplished. No, we no longer need to think about core design philosophy. Now it's just tweaks. They thought they were at the stage now, like, you know what I mean? Just like it's the home run. And now it's like, no, we're back to beta. Like, we have to redesign. We have to do something drastic. They weren't ready for this. They didn't have this planned. They didn't. And what is the new direction? What do we do? It's a nightmare. Which is why I'm like, you know what, guys? Take 6 months. Take whatever you need. I have defended them taking this long because they need it. They need it, bro. They need it.
And I think most people are above the hill of copium, because it is a. I mean, you probably. I mean, you write and shit, right? Like you're a writer, so you may know this as well. Like if. Although maybe this is a very bad comparison, I wanted to go there that when video games are developed, until they reach gold status, you have like full hands on deck, the whole ship.
Yep.
But once they are out, you are working with a skeleton crew.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's a good example. I mean, a good example for TV would be like, okay, the script has been written. Now is the time where we can make all the changes we want. Okay, we've got the actors in. They've been paid. They've shot the film. The film's shot now. Now we're just editing. And then you showed it to people and they hate it. What the fuck do we do? Okay, let's get Tom Cruise back. He's busy. He's doing Mission Impossible 6.
Yeah,
fuck.
True.
We need to change everything, but we have a fraction of the resources available to make the structure change. Like our whole story was that the protagonist died, but everyone hates it, so now we need him to live. We need to shoot a new ending, but the actor's not here. He's got a mustache. Yeah. Fuck, and he won't cut it off from Mission Impossible. What do we do?
New Roland has a mustache.
Yeah, like what do we do? Like that's the situation they're in. It's like, fuck, we thought we were in the home stretch, just doing tweaks, but it's tested poorly, and we do not have the resources available to make the change. Like, that's why I'm like, give them 9 months, bro. They need all the time, because we need a Tekken 8.5, bro. We need a Bloodline Revolution or whatever. We need
would be sick.
Yeah, we need it.
Would be sick. And I try to make my peace with it day in, day out. And then, when I'm very close, I'm like 1 day away, right?
Yep.
And I have an unlucky day. I don't know what happened. And I open Twitter and I see a tweet from Jason Montoya. That is, that is, and suddenly it's like the scene. Did you see From Dusk Till Dawn?
Yes.
When the Vietnam vet is like doing this monologue of like,
Yes.
and I shank it. And yellow flesh above my bayonet. Like, this is like where I'm like, yeah, it happens. I just get PTSD.
But the thing is, it's like, but you can't let yourself. I mean, I've discussed this to you behind the scenes. Like, I don't know why you keep arguing with this fucker, because there are people. Okay, I don't want to get dragged too much into this, but this is the only thing I will say publicly on the you versus Jason Montoya beef. This is my first and last public statement.
You don't need to.
No, I want to. I want to, because you're not actually the only person. There have been people who have asked me to comment, right?
Okay, wait. I should warn you, because it could get a little bit messier in the next days. So maybe.
Sure, I'm just saying this, and then I'm back out. There are people in the Tekken community who are knowledgeable, whose opinions are wise, and are able to, because they love the game and are very knowledgeable about the game, they're able to attract an audience, maybe even make some pocket change from a YouTube channel, small or big. There are also people who aren't very knowledgeable, but can also generate a feedback simply by drama, right? Jason is the latter. He's not knowledgeable. The best thing for him, if I was Jason and I want to make as much money and make as much of a name for myself in Tekken community with the fraction of knowledge I have now, I would do what I have done, what Jason has done. I would pick an argument with someone far more knowledgeable about me, and I would argue with him into the wall over and over and over again. And I would intentionally say things to trigger him in order to keep arguing with me, because he keeps putting my name in the algorithm, and I'll get invited into bigger talks and blah, blah, blah. He is using you. He is not relevant.
I think you're severely overestimating him.
No, I think you are underestimating him, because he is an idiot, but he is an idiot savant, right? When you have no resources, but you have large breasts, you start an OnlyFans, okay? When you are an idiot, all right? When you have an idiot, but you have a webcam, you start fights with people more knowledgeable than you. That's what this motherfucker is doing, right? And it's working, which is why I'm like, I have no time for him. I have no time for him. And again, don't get me wrong. I know why you won't admit this. I know you have fun stepping on those who need to be stepped on. Bit. I know. And so that's why I'm like, have your fun. But don't lose sight of this project, because you are only adding fuel to a fire that frankly should be snuffed out. You and him are not equals. So don't give him.
I'm working at the snuff.
I know. You are doing your exterminatus. I know. I can see the fucking orbital, the fucking what's it called, Hammer of Dawn hovering above the Earth. I can see it, right? And it's charging up. Right? I can see it, right? You're about to crack the planet, and have fun with that. But like, honestly, I have no time for Jason. And again, but ironically, do you remember that Mike Hollow chat when we were talking about Tope? Right? Was it Tope? Or yeah. I remember coming in and being like, trying to talk to Mike and being like, this guy is acting, he's engaging in sophistry. He's formulating enough of an argument to keep the argument going and no more. Do you get what I'm saying? He's not actually he's not trying to arrive at the truth. That's difficult. That requires intellect, that requires perspective. But it requires a fraction of knowledge to argue enough to keep the fight going. And that's my point. That's why I'm like, and I was getting tired of like, bro, this guy is arguing just enough to keep the fight going. He's not providing any insight. He's very circular, and you can feel it. And the circular nature is getting you more frustrated, which motivates you to keep the argument going. That's what I'm saying. He's playing you, and he's an idiot, right? This is what I'm saying. So like, just have your fun, extract your value from him, and then end it. Exterminate him, move on. Because like the fact that we're even talking about him is crazy. Who is he?
Yes, you are kind of right. Yeah, you are right. You are right. It's just because chaos has infested New Mexico. I
understand, and you have. I'm with you as Lord Inquisitor. Do what must be done. Exterminate the planet and move on. All right. Stop trying to save him. Yes. Stop trying to save people. We're done. Exterminatus. We're done. Yeah. Do your duty, Inquisitor. Do your duty. Exterminatus. Move on.
I will. I will.
But yeah, that's my thing. yeah, you can't lose the game, but your opponent can win the game either. Yeah, it's literally that fucking Magic the Gathering card. It's like, yeah, you can't lose the game, your opponent can't win the game. Like, that's it.
That is a very good comparison.
It's literally that card. It's literally that card.
It's a book of exalted deeds, right? I can enchant my land with that shit.
It's literally just, I'm trying to lock you in because every time you make a reply to my reply, ooh, I'm in the algorithm. Ooh, people will say my name. Ooh, I'm getting buzzed. That's it. Yeah. He's fighting to fight. And that's what's
and I know how that shit works. One motherfucker has enchanted his faceless haven, and then it jumps back into the land spot, and you can't even attack. This is what Jason does. This is what he's doing.
Thank you. This is what he's doing. And the thing is, for me, perhaps because I was coming at it from the outside, I would step into the argument maybe three hours into it, and I would immediatally frame one, be like, oh, he's sophistry. You are arguing, trying to find the truth. He is arguing to keep you arguing, and I could see it, and I'm checking out because we could be here. We'll be here as long as you want to be.
One thing though, Chet, you have one option. Either what you do is the smarter, more healthier play. You say, I know he has enchanted his faceless haven. I can't actually win anymore, and I think I don't have an out. So you concede.
Yes.
But what I do is I know even if I even if I draw my out, he would come up with some bullshit. Meaning, what I do is I grab besides the table and pull out the X, right? It takes more work, right? It takes more work to pull out the X.
Sure.
You already left the game shop. You already left the game store.
Yeah, I'm out. Yes.
But I'm going to the basement and grabbing the X, and I need to sharpen that shit, and then I come up with the X.
Sure. I think I'm with you, and for me, it comes down to what are the stakes. If this is grand finals and there's money in the line, sure, I too will play this out to the end. But if this is fucking casuals, it's Friday Night Magic, and he's just trying to stall the game out, I'm going home. I got shit to do. I don't have time for this. And for me, I'm like, Jason is like, there's no power here. There's no. You are giving him power. He's not giving you power. Like you know what I mean? Like you are not exposing yourself to the massive Jason Montoya audience. He, however, is exposing himself to you. Okay, it's a niche audience within a niche game, but you are a name in the Tekken community. You know this, right? And so you are doing more work for him than he's doing for you. That's the thing, right? So I'm just saying, like, I'm just saying, bro. I'm just saying.
Let me say it like this: you are right, but there's one thing which I have. Mm-hmm. I can't spoil it. But I have one thing which could make it so that you are right, but I think I have a card that makes it very, very, very regrettable that he ever tried this.
Yes.
Which,
okay, fair.
I'm not gonna spoil that card.
No, don't. I look forward to it. You always have that shit. But like for me personally, watching this beef has been like just infuriating. Just out of respect for you. Like because I'm just like, why I'm watching a man argue with a child. And I'm like, why are you arguing with this child? I'm like, because the child must learn. I'm like, he's a child. But he must learn. I'm like, but he's a child. But he must learn. I'm like, okay, fine.
Do you remember that like half a year ago, I think it's almost like 5 months ago at least, you said, Finn, I worry about you. I think you're going to die off of a heart attack.
You are. Because you are arguing. Because again, I was saying this before, like, it actually... while it seems contradictory, you are more optimistic than I am. Because I think you seem to be of the belief that through the power of intellect and reason, you can demonstrate an argument so well that the person will see the error of their ways and realize that they were wrong. And realize that you were right. And I'm like, I have no such compulsion. Some people are just retarded. They were put here to be farmed. That is their raison d'etre. Like, it is what it is, right? And I'm like, so every once in a while, when an argument starts, I literally do a cost benefit analysis. I'm like, is this person winnable? Is the time spent converting this person worthwhile? And if the answer is no, which it often is, I just leave.
But I will remind you, this is the one and only and first time I have officially declared exterminatus. That is the first time I have officially declared exterminatus, and that is not done. So I'm just gonna,
destroy the planet. On that note, we're gonna end it because it is late, and I appreciate you for taking the time talking to me about this dumb shit. I don't even know if I'll make this a YouTube video. I probably will. It's gonna take a while to edit out the dumb bits. But yeah, no, I appreciate you chatting about this. And yeah, long story short, Tekken 8 has. I have a lot of sympathy for the dev team because they know that they can't stay where they are. But the only two other landmarks are both so far away from where they are currently that it's the first part is figuring out where they're going to go, and then reaching it is going to be difficult. And we'll see what happens. But I don't give a fuck. I'm playing single player RPGs now. Fuck this. Fuck fighting games in general. Like I just can't be fucked. If I have the nerve for a fighting game, I will hit up the American guys playing Retro Fighter, and more often than not, I'm just playing other games. I'm playing more D&D. At some point, we just gonna play D&D. I'm gonna Chapter 10 is gonna become a D&D channel, and I'll invite you, Finn. You can join. You can join the first game. We'll do our own.
Yeah, why not?
We'll. I already know my first character is gonna be called. What was it? Oh, Tiefling Xiaoyu. That was what it's gonna be. But yeah, we'll see. But yeah, until then, have a good one, everyone.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone. We out. Yeah, Eben Crow, you're in the pie too. Don't worry about it. But yeah, peace.
Good night, shit.
Good night, everyone. Good night.